out.
Because of your article, I've been able to do that. He goes, oh, glad I helped. When can I come on? I pretended I was gay to get David Copay.
Cut.
6.
Mourn. I normally don't have to rush to the men's latrine with such haste.
Don't say latrine.
But my gerbil Manny ate an undercooked pork McGriddle, and his indigestion was jostling my colon to the point that I just couldn't clench onto the prairie dog much longer.
Oh, God.
That it?
I kicked open the family arena men's room door, and I saw a gentleman at the urinal, his arm against the wall, and releasing guttural moans that could only be heard over near the fry bar. As I waltzed nigh his stubborn pelvic floor, I sensed a stinging on my nostril that conveyed to me that he had an asparagus dish at dinner last eve. I crept up behind him, stuck my hands in his back pockets of his jorts, and whispered in his ear, "Were they roasted? Did you marinate those spears in a stew consisting of a loosely related gentleman's sweet tinky brine?"
Okay.
Tinky brine, baby.
I let his splashback warm my arms. I let his waist warm my soul.
No.
Think about it, Doug.
That's enough.
Tunnels Talty.
Tunnels Talty just got himself suspended. I'm writing his name in the suspension log, and it is indeed leather bound.
I'm writing his name in the cuts.
Tunnels Talty will be suspended a period of 2 days' time, and I don't expect it feels real good. And those were the cuts of the week.
Hey, this is Tim McKernan, and I am here with a great TMA sponsor, and that is Longo Biggs Injury Law Firm. And you may hear a bunch of out-of-state law firms advertising here and there all over on billboards and so on and so forth. But the thing is, oftentimes their goal is to just settle and move on. And that's not what you guys do.
Yeah, this is CD Longo, and you hear us talking a lot about maximizing the value of cases, but what does that actually mean? Well, as Tim said, there's lots of personal injury lawyers in St. Louis, and everyone handles cases differently. We focus on getting the highest dollar amount for your injuries, not just getting a resolution quickly. We're constantly tracking all the settlements and verdicts in the area. This helps us advise our clients on whether a settlement offer is too low. And if the amount of compensation being offered is too low, we are happy to file lawsuits and proceed to trial to ensure our clients receive an amount that is fair. Visit our website or Google us at Longo Biggs Injury Law.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Bet like the pros with the world's largest sports book right at your fingertips. Circus Sports is now available in Illinois. Hi, I'm Derek Stevens. I've been a lifelong sports bettor, and I'm the owner of Circus Sports. We're excited that the Circus Sports app is now ready for action. Experience big app bets with high betting limits, tight money line splits, and more. Now you can download, fund, and bet like a pro from anywhere in Illinois. Download your new bookie today at circusports.com. If you or someone you know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER or text ILGAMB to 833-234.
Hey, this is Doug Vaughn for Sound Story, the perfect gift for this holiday season. I've been hosting Sound Story interviews for the last couple of years, and I've enjoyed the chance to talk with so many people and hear their life stories. And with the holidays approaching, you can get your mom, dad, or grandparents a gift they will love with just a couple of clicks at mysoundstory.com. This holiday season, Sound Story is giving 20% off a Sound Story gift card when you enter promo code TMA. Sound Story is a professionally produced hour-long conversation in which you or one of your loved ones is interviewed by your choice of one of our professional interviewers, including myself, Tim McKernan, Jackson Burkett, or even KG in O-Town. Go to mysoundstory.com for more information and enter promo code TMA for 20% off your Sound Story gift certificate. Purchase your loved one's gift certificate today. Schedule your Sound Story later. Again, that's mysoundstory.com, promo code TMA for 20% off your Sound Story gift certificate. Sound Story. For you, for them, forever.
The Brown and Crouppen Morning After will be hosting the End of the Year Awards to celebrate TMA fans December 14th at Hot Shots in Webster. Best Texter, Best Caller, Best Emailer, or Listener of the Year, or maybe Best Cuck Story of the Year, or Most Perverted Fake Story of the Year, or whatever else we can come up with. Who should win? Who will win? Who gives a crap? Bring a new unwrapped toy for Annie's Hope on behalf of Jay Randolph Jr. and you'll get in for free. Find out more at TMASTL.com. Live from the Michelob Ultra Studios, KPN-TFM HD2, Collinsville, St. Louis. This is TMA All Day.
Open up your TMA mobile app and enter keyword laugh to see comedian actor Sebastian Maniscalco at Enterprise Center on December 14, 2024 on the It Ain't Right Tour. Enter to win right now.
Rise and shine, St. Louis. It's the Brown and Crouppen Morning After on KPN-TFM HD2, Collinsville, St. Louis. At the Morning After STL on YouTube and on TMASTL.com with Tim McKernan, Doug Vaughn, Iggy Strode, the Plowboy, and Action Jackson.
7:07 in St. Louis. You are listening to TMA, presented to you by Brown and Crouppen. Welcome, friends, to the Michelob Ultra Studios. It is our Munganess St. Louis Acura, Munganess Burkhardt, Alton Toyota, 7 o'clock hour. My name is Timothy Michael McKernan, Douglas Sullivan Vaughn, alongside Kenneth Iggy Strode, the Plowhawk, and Action Jackson. And you are welcome to be a friend of the Feather. Text in to the EDF Group text inbox 314-881-TMA5. Call in 636-9004-TMA. And email in for our Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling email today, the morning after at InsideSTL.com, giving away a 5-pack for 5 games of Cardinal tickets for our Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling email of the day today. This is a weekend 5-pack. 5 weekend games, including matchups with the Red Sox, Dodgers, Giants, and more. Give the gift to Cardinal Baseball. Cardinals.com/holiday is where you can do so. And these ticket packages start at $55. Doug, I was thinking, I was texting with the non-ling this morning. You remember the non-ling?
Oh, sure.
He's a counselor now,
He is
Esquire?
not gay, hence the name non-gay.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And I was in the process of texting with him early in the morning, 5:30. I was thinking to myself, in 2023, how often I am surprised by news. Certainly the Yasser Al-Rumayyan, Jay Monahan announcement on LIV and PGA will, I don't know if I'll ever be more surprised by a sports story and how that came to pass from June of this year. Locally, I think Mike Schiltz firing, unless I'm missing something, which goes back a couple of years. But I have to tell you, even though I asked Jeremy Rutherford about Craig Berubey's job status on 101 on Monday, it wasn't necessarily something that I thought was going to be on the precipice of taking place. So when I woke up this morning and saw that, because I was already asleep when it had happened last night, I legitimately was surprised. And from a big picture standpoint, it is a significant move, I think, in the timeline of Tom Stillman's ownership and Doug Armstrong's tenure as general manager, because this is the roster he was given before the season started. The expectations were made clear of what this team was, and now he is the one who is held accountable for the team's performance, when I just don't think that is the way that it should go. And before we opine on it, I want to hear the soundbite from Doug Armstrong before the season, because he laid out what the expectations were. A lot of fans, I don't think, liked it, that he was so blunt. I personally did. But now it seems like the goalposts have moved. Here's Doug Armstrong before the season.
Yeah, I think we should. If you look at, I'd love to get third place. I think that I think third might be an easier thing to get than one of the 2 wild card spots. So I think we should be competitive. But again, it doesn't really matter what I think or what anyone thinks. It's what we're going to do. I think we should be competitive with the groups, with that. If you break the league into thirds, I hope to be in competitive with that middle third, and I hope to be at the top end of that middle third. That's our goal going in. And then, as we all see, every year you make the playoffs, things happen. Goalies go on a heater. The wrong guy gets hurt in the first round. You get a bad call go against you, or you get a good call go against for you, and you're on to the second round, and then everything changes. So I'm not concerned about quite where we fit in the standing. Quite honestly, JR, is do we build that foundation back to where it was in the past, and can we start building something that has to put us in the same spot where I personally view Colorado and Dallas now, with experienced players that have the pedigree and have the perception that they should be winning championships. Where we have been there for the better part of a decade, we're not there today, and my goal is to build this foundation and get back there as quick as possible.
So there you go. There was not some kind of urgency before the season to return to where they were. Really the pandemic season more so. I mean, don't get me wrong. They had a team that was fighting with the Avalanche, eventually the Cup winners, before Jordan Binnington got hurt. But, in the pandemic year, that was a great regular season team that was positioned to make a run. in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and of course 2019. But there's Doug Armstrong with the expectations. A new system was implemented. Through the first 14 games of this year, they had allowed 36 goals. Through the next 14 games of this year, they had allowed 58 goals. So things had transpired and that system had broken down. But for Craig Berube to be the guy to get whacked, that really surprises me. Also of note, last night, insider trading on TSN said that things had gotten so bad that changes might be coming in St. Louis. My question would be, what were the things that got so bad? Were there things inside the room that had gotten so bad? Final observation, and then I want to hear what you have to say, Doug, is Jordan Kyrou is, from a macro standpoint, a player that the Blues and Doug Armstrong really hitched their wagon to. I don't think anybody would say he has graded out so far this season to match up with that contract that he was given before last season. And so from a macro standpoint, that's a core issue because that's one of the foundations that Armstrong wanted to see going into the season start to grow. And then from a micro standpoint, last night, Berube pulls the goalie, certainly a focal point of questioning on strategy throughout the course of his tenure, especially more recently, to give the Blues the 6-on-4 since they were on the power play. And it's Kyrou with a 1-on-1 up against the boards on that 6-on-4 with the empty net who loses the puck. The Red Wings go in for the empty netter, and that is the nail in the coffin. And perhaps it's fitting that Jordan Kyrou was the one who lost the puck. Doug Vaughn, thoughts?
Well, they hitched their wagon to Kyrou, knowing full well he wasn't a great two-way player, a gifted goal scorer, talented with the puck, but not really a Ryan O'Reilly type gritty, I'll do anything it takes to win this game two-way player. And they gave him a long-term, very lucrative contract, one of the biggest in club history. So that was kind of a tenuous thing to do at the time. I think this is going to be an extremely unpopular move. I don't think you can find anybody who doesn't like Craig Berube as a coach. He was like the face of the team. He's the one big personality you have there. What do you have now? I don't think there's a player on that team that really gets people excited to go to the building to watch him play. I don't think there's one. Berube was just kind of the whole personality of the franchise, I think. Unless I'm off base there, I don't know who else they have, really, that's a strong leader type. They don't have a superstar player. They don't have a perennial all-star on the team anymore. And you got rid of the one guy that everybody seems to love. So I was stunned by the move.
You were stunned as well.
Yeah, I don't think it was a wise thing to do.
And also, we joke about the 101 text inbox, but if there is a place that has anger and wanting to fire people that is real early in the, I have maybe seen, God, I don't know, of the hundreds of texts that come into that station, at least on our show, maybe one when we were talking with Jeremy Rutherford on Monday. And that's coming off of a 3-game losing streak before last night's loss against Detroit. And again, I want to point out, a week ago tonight, so, really more like 6 days ago, this is a team that was 3 games over 500, which I think most people would have taken, coming off of a win against the best team in the Western Conference in their building in Las Vegas, playing against that team, leading 3-1, and then losing that lead, losing to Columbus and Chicago over the weekend, and then for the first time scoring first and then losing last night. But in a week's time, gone. And I'm just really, really surprised by that. The power play, I mean, God, if you want to talk about from a structural standpoint, would be Roman numeral number 1. What a phenomenal stat that the team has more shorthanded goals than power play goals. Yeah. That is an absolutely amazing stat for 28 games into a season. They have 8 shorthanded goals after Scandella's last night, 7 power play goals. So, last night when they get the power play late in the game, at this point, I would imagine most fans are like, yeah, that's great, but, what are you really expecting? So then Berube goes and pulls Binnington, and you see what winds up happening with Kyrou losing the puck along the boards, and off the Red Wings go, and that wraps it up, 6-4. But when I saw that take place, I wasn't like, oh man, I wonder if Berube's going to be gone. I woke up this morning and wasn't even on my radar. And I would imagine, like you said, this is going to be a really unpopular move. I think Doug Armstrong, for the most part, especially considering some of the moves that have taken place, whether you want to focus on Pietrangelo or Krug or the long-term contracts for defensemen that certainly haven't panned out, and now I would imagine the Kyrou contract will give even more scrutiny. I think had like 5 times the equity of John Mozeliak in the market. Now, he's not at that level, but he now will be in the crosshairs of fans. So you have 2 unpopular leaders of the teams here in St. Louis.
It's been a series of personnel moves that have not gone very well. It started with the Pietrangelo thing, and since then they've lost O'Reilly and Tarasenko and Perron and Barbashev, and what do they have to show for it? Who came back in any of those moves that is a difference-making type of player?
Verano.
They got nothing for any of those guys. They got nothing. Now, I understand there comes a time when you have to trade a veteran on a big salary late in his career. You want something, but you got to get something, right? You got to have something of value coming back. I don't see where they have much of value for losing all of those players.
I cannot wait to hear from Jeremy Rutherford. He joins us every Wednesday at 9 o'clock. I'm sure he has been up and writing throughout the course of the late night, early morning with this news. And he is scheduled to join us at 9 o'clock. If he can join us earlier, we'll certainly do that. The Blues have a press conference at 10:30. I have not checked with Mike Ryder, the executive producer of 101 ESPN, but I would imagine we will be carrying that live during Balloon Party. So you'll be able to hear that live on 101 ESPN. Super intrigued to hear what is said. I also think from a timing standpoint, the Blues were beginning this 11 games out of 15 at home, the longest stretch of home games, most condensed stretch of the season. If that factored into it, that this is kind of the do-or-die moment for the season. But again, the season didn't have the expectations of a at the very least, a playoff, much less going deep into the playoffs. You heard it from Doug Armstrong.
When he says we'd love to finish third,
right.
That's not a real glowing...
I just don't, for the life of me, I just don't understand it. But either way, I don't know if that's from an attendance standpoint. Last night, if you were watching the game at the beginning, it was noticeable how empty the building was at the puck drop and in the early portion of it. But I would note it was a 6:30 game on ESPN. And, even last year, we went to that game, as a show toward the end of the year against the Devils, and the team was a bucket of crap. They had already traded everybody, but the building was still full. So I don't know if that factors into it. It's a do-or-die stretch, minus Chicago and Ottawa and Pittsburgh. They're playing teams who are above 500, if I'm not mistaken. Over this 15-game stretch. They have some tests when they go to the state of Florida next week, taking on the Panthers. Lightning aren't great this year, but either way, that's a tough stretch. But then the rest of it, they're home games, but there's some tough opponents. You'll have Colorado, you'll have Dallas twice. So I don't know. I'm trying to figure out a reason for it, for something that truly, when it gets down to it, I'm legitimately surprised by. And of course, I don't have the information from inside the room and inside the organization, but on the surface, it's uncharacteristic to me and disappointing.
Yeah.
Your thoughts, of course, are welcome. 314-881-TMA5. Text in, and you are welcome to call in 636-9004-TMA. It's the Munganess St. Louis Acura, Munganess Burkhardt Alton Toyota, 7 o'clock hour. Go online at stlouisacura.com or altontoyota.com to support our official automotive provider here on TMA, and that is Munganess Burkhardt Alton Toyota and Munganess St. Louis Acura. That's Jamie Burkhardt, Clayton Patterson, and Peter Munganess, and of course Ryan Seiberg in the service department. Go online at stlouisacura.com or altontoyota.com for new cars, for pre-owned cars, to buy a car, to lease a car, to get your car serviced. You can use the secret number 314-252-0029. Text it or call it 314-252-0029 and let them know you are a TMA listener. Jackson, tell the people where they can wager on the Blues tomorrow night against the Senators as they get the micro bump from a coaching termination.
Sure, Tim. That's, of course, Circa Sportsbook, because the Circa Sportsbook is the largest sportsbook in Las Vegas, and now it is in Illinois. That's right. The Circa Sports app is sports betting the way it should be, with big app bets, high betting limits, tight money line splits, and the best customer service around. You'll never talk to a chatbot. If you run into any issues with Circa, you'll talk to a real person, the same people that run the Circa Resort out there in Las Vegas. If you're looking to bet the Blues, you're looking to bet some NBA, some college hoops, or some NFL on the weekend, all available over at the Circa Sports app, which is available in the great state of Illinois. Visit circasports.com for more details and get ready to start betting like a pro. If you or someone you know might have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER or text ILGAMB to 833-234.
There you go. It is Circa. And we welcome you to email in for the Design Air Heating and Cooling email the day, the morning after, at InsideSTL.com. The morning after at InsideSTL.com. Design Air Heating and Cooling, sponsor of our email of the day. And you can win a weekend pack, 5 games. This 5-game pack features tickets to 5 weekend games, including matchups with the Red Sox, Dodgers, Giants, and more. Give the gift to Cardinal Baseball. Holiday tickets are on sale now and start at just $55. For complete pack details, visit cardinals.com/holiday. Design Air. DesignAirService.com. Seth Goldcamp and his staff will take wonderful care of you. They are the official HVAC provider of TMA and the Tim McKernan Show podcast. Work with Design Air Heating and Cooling when you have furnace problems this winter. DesignAirService.com. 4th generation of heating and cooling at Design Air Heating and Cooling. DesignAirService.com. Doug is a client. I am a client. They are the official HVAC provider of TMA and the Tim McKernan Show. DesignAirService.com. Give your thoughts by texting into the EDF group. Text inbox 314-881-TMA5. You are welcome to call in at 636-900-4TMA. Let's see what we got. Weird messaging. He's giving a 500 middle third team as expected. They play middle third hockey, and he gets fired. WTF. That comes from Sex.
Oh.
Sex speaks, you listen. Yep.
Now, are those initials? Is his name Sam Edward Xavier? Or
I just read what's in the prompter, and it says Sex.
Rookie of the Year candidate.
He's your Rookie of the Year tomorrow night at the year-end awards. Hot Shots, Webster Groves, Pony.
He's a nominee.
A very unpopular move for sure. However, Berube lost the room to a softer generation of player. Berube's style of coaching is fading. Sad to say, but that's all part of the simps our country's producing. This was strictly an attention getter and show the room drastic measures will be made to win and to fall in line. How about that whole deal? That comes from Mr. 63011.
That may be painting a little broad brush to the whole thing.
He has a fast golf cart, though.
I don't know who wouldn't want to play for Berube. I'm not in the locker room, but
if he wants to coach, he will coach again.
Yeah.
And that usually tells you something.
Everybody seems to love him. We loved him as media. I mean, to look at him, he looks like he'd be gruff, angry, mean. He's anything but that. Always very accommodating, never snapped at anybody. Always gave you straightforward answers. A complete professional. You could tell during that Stanley Cup run that everybody loved him. The players all just loved him. It's really a sad day.
Absolutely terrible move, but something that had to happen to cover for Army's awful free agent decisions and contract extensions he gave out after the Cup run. That's from the Lodo King.
Victim of their own success.
Is it possible that the Bally's money also plays into this? Risk of lack of attendance plus less TV revenue could have ownership thinking, oh crap, we need this building packed or we are going to lose our asses. That's from the Hunchback of
But how do you pack a building when you fire the coach that's loved and you have a bunch of, no offense, scrubs?
Uh-huh.
I mean, a top-heavy team, though. I mean, it's just a bunch of.
It's a top-heavy with salaries, not necessarily with talent, but with salaries. Iggy, you followed Drew Bannister's career a long time. What do you think he'll bring to the club?
I don't know. Maybe it's just maybe it's just a I don't know, philosophical differences. I mean, Berube's trying to win, and he's got crap out there, and he says, can we do something? These guys aren't doing it. Make a trade. You got what you got. Just play out the string, and Berube's not like that. Who knows? I mean, I don't know. They're in 7th place, lost 4 in a row. They're about where they expected this team to be. Hopefully, we can finish 3rd and sneak in the playoffs. And they're 1 game under 500, so it's not like you give up on the season and get rid of your coach now. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense unless there were philosophical differences.
Yeah. I'm not sure from a player perspective, that you even see a whole lot of hope for the near future, do you? I mean, Neighbors looks like he's going to be a good productive player, young guy. But beyond that, what do you see that you really like?
Rana?
I think Robert Thomas is having a decent year. He's plus 10. He got, I think, 27 points. I mean,
I guess he's their best player.
I'm not saying it's a $9.5 million worth of effort, but I think clearly that one is working out. Kyrou looks like a different person after he got his contract. So
I would, yeah. To me, I would, if you know, again, this is all theory, and so let me make it crystal clear. It's speculative, but you can't. You know, if there is something there, and you've hitched your wagon at Jordan Kyrou, that would be the one that I would. So I'm telling you, I know I said this on this show, the way Craig Berube talked about Jordan Kyrou, and this is before that contract, was the way that Tony La Russa talked about J.D. Drew. It was, I mean, they were so similar. They were code words, but you could pick up on it. He just wasn't his type of player. So I was really surprised when they locked him in to that deal. At the same time, I mean, with NHL coaches, they're not around very long. I can't imagine there's too many coaches who have more tenure than Craig Berube. So with regard to Kyrou and his lack of development through 28 games this year, and you see the Blues going, okay, well, we got to get something out of him. Maybe a new coach would do that. Drew Bannister, who is the interim coach now, did coach, I mean, a large portion of these younger players. Even Jordan Binnington, he coached him. So I gather that this is a move to get something out of the younger players with a guy who has coached these guys. He was with Springfield. I think if you would have said Craig Berube had moved on or had been fired, let's say this time last year, which there was more talk of him being fired this time last year, by the way, than this year. At least down the hallway on 101. I promise you that. My God, a ratio of 100 to 1 for real as far as number of text complaints on Craig Berube at this time last year versus this year. The guy who you would have thought would be the head coach is Steve Ott. Yeah. And Steve Ott, because he's in charge of the power play, which is historically bad, is not the guy. And instead, they go to the guy who has been coaching Blues younger players, and he was at San Antonio when the Blues had an affiliation with San Antonio. So perhaps that's a reason. I don't know. Like I said, I'm so blindsided by it. I mean, the Mike Schilt thing 2 years ago.
That was even more unfair because you had a guy who was winning.
Yeah.
Well, on the Mike Schilt one, I still think that one was more about, I don't even know what the right word, because I don't think philosophy. I think that's what they called it, right?
Control.
I think the first domino was a Rosarena, and that goes back to right after they won a playoff series, and then there were some disagreements along the way. Now I would say that, and this surprises me, the fact that it took Schilt this long to get a job doesn't necessarily speak real highly of Mike Schilt. If somebody's out there and they're a hot commodity, they get a job. If they're just waiting and waiting and waiting, and then they have to go to, something that isn't necessarily on a positive trajectory, it tells you about the impressions of that person's performance, either publicly or what people know about that person behind the scenes. That's in any industry. I would be shocked if Craig Berube wants to coach, if he wouldn't be hired very quickly, especially in the NHL. Where I feel like guys, I mean, my God, Pete DeBoer, who was the Sharks head coach, I think he's coached 2 different teams since then when the Blues played DeBoer in the hand pass game in 2019. So they bounce around in the NHL like nobody's business. So, the Schilt one, I think that was a lot of off the field. I'd be surprised if this was off ice between Armstrong and Berube, whereas I think the Schilt thing was Schilt and Mozeliak. Theorizing.
I was looking at some of Jordan Kyrou's stats. Last year he scored 37 goals, so you figure this, at age 24, you figure this guy's going to be a star.
That's what I thought.
Somehow he managed to be a minus 38 in the plus-minus category. Hey, help out on defense every now and then. That's probably hard to do, to score 37 and be a minus 38.
be hard to look that up in terms of how many times. I'm sure it has happened.
Yeah.
That is surprising.
Guys, Bannister's the only guy with head coaching experience, probably just temporary until they find a real coach. That's from Tervis Parish.
Well, they did say it was interim.
Yeah, it's interim. Let's see.
Maybe they'll bring Keenan back.
You'd like that, wouldn't you?
No, I wouldn't.
Like Joel Quenneville.
Yeah, well, that'd be great.
Yeah.
But I think he's probably out of the league now after what happened in Chicago.
Well, I don't know about that.
In this era of wokeness and political correctness, that's pretty serious what happened up there.
We are going to have Jeremy Rutherford at 8 o'clock. Is that is correct? So we're going to move him up, or are we not?
So we are moving him up. It's going to be closer to 7:50 or 7:55 because he's going on opening drive at 8:15.
Okay, fair enough. Sounds good. So Jeremy Rutherford usually. Can you let Mark Hanna know, Jackson?
Yes. Yep. I was texting with him earlier.
I don't know if he was going to come in or not, but just because of the news, we will have JR. So we're going to have JR on in 20 minutes. Looking forward to hearing what he has to say. He wrote a column, and this I'm telling you, I guess because I feel like it's, becoming more rare, and I usually use Strauss as an example, but Gabe is the current example, and JR would fall into this category, especially when JR is more reporter. But it's a critical column, and hey, he's kind of hitching his wagon to the guy who is leaving, and he'll be covering the guy who will be staying. The title of the column on The Athletic this morning, Doug Armstrong's roster, not Craig Berube's coaching, is the root of the Blues' issues. God bless him. There are coaches who you have no choice but to fire because of the circumstances, but Craig Berube was not one of them. Forget the Stanley Cup in 2019. Teams win the Cup every season, and even when it's the franchise's first, like it was for the Blues, eventually coaches get let go. This was bound to happen at some point, but not 28 games into this season, not 2 months after general manager Doug Armstrong, who when asked in October if this was a playoff team, replied, JR is writing the same column that we just talked about. Quote, I'd love to get to third place. Not when the number one reason the club's record is 13-14-1 in mid-December is because players on long-term contracts aren't performing. This was an executive issue and an execution issue, not a coaching issue. The problems didn't start when the Blues couldn't score at the start of the season or when they got blitzed by the Sharks. They began when Alex Pietrangelo wasn't re-signed and player after player was brought in to try to build back the roster, which led to a lineup that was never as good as it once was and finally caught up to them last season. They continued against Detroit on Tuesday when the Blues couldn't defend the front of their net nor hang on to the puck on a 6-on-4 power play that turned into an empty net goal and a 6-4 loss to the Red Wings. It was the Blues' season-high fourth straight defeat, and they dropped 5 out of 6, including recent losses to Columbus and Chicago, with both at the bottom of the NHL standings. It certainly wasn't the right direction, but few would have believed that Tuesday's game could be the Blues' last with Berube's last with the Blues. On Tuesday afternoon, TSN's reputable reporter Darren Dreger touched on the topic during insider trading. Oh, he's on this one too. Quote, there's growing discontent and frustration at all levels, Dreger said. The team just isn't responding the way management and ownership expected that they would to this point in the season. Notice the ownership part. This Blues team is not that hard-checking team that the organization's accustomed to seeing, so the players either adjust and change, or management, in this case Doug Armstrong, is going to have to step in. And if they don't change, if there isn't an adjustment, you could see a very good coach, Craig Berube, on his way out. So, there you go. That is Jeremy Rutherford's column. Much more on theathletic.com. JR said before the news broke, I spoke with Torrey Krug at his locker and asked about the possibility of the team moving on from Berube. Krug said, I didn't even know that was a topic of conversation. I don't think there's an issue with the message. I think, frankly, we have to perform better. We have guys that just need to step up. Whether you think you're deserving of a bigger role or you have a new role this year, or you have guys who are trying to have bounce-back years, you've got to perform. And at the end of the day, it falls on us as players to perform. Yeah, Berube's trying. You can only poke the bear so many different ways in order to get a response. Like I said, it all falls on us as players to perform better. So there's Torrey Krug, who certainly would be a focal point and perhaps another exhibit for the current problems. Yeah. As far as his signing, which was...
I totally agree with what he said. Yeah. Totally agree with what he said. I just don't think they've got the roster. They just don't have the players. They don't have the talent. I don't know what coach you could bring in, Scotty Bowman included, who could do much with the roster that they have. And that's what it gets down to. In any sport, a coach is only as good as the players he's got. He can help you be a little bit better, but no coach is going to win it without the talent. I think Bill Belichick is another example of that. You got to have players, and they don't have them.
They're boring to watch right now. Just because you don't.
You been
know.
watching a lot?
No, I watched last night because it was an
ESPN game.
Yeah, it was an ESPN game, so I watched the entire game. And it just, maybe because a lot of new players, a lot of unproven players. It just is. It's not that excitement that you had with that core that obviously won you the cup. But they're just a fun team to watch.
Why do you hate Hugh McGing?
Nice, good question.
Honestly, I couldn't tell you. If like that, you just said that name, is he a Blue or not?
Yeah.
Probably would have said no.
No.
Yep, he got to make his appearance in Columbus, Chicago this weekend. A lot of buzz. Put Ferrano on with him.
Well,
if they're not trying to loot the fan base and gain some tickets, I think this is not the move to do. I don't know if there is a move to get, people in the seats because you're kind of hamstrung on two big contracts, and there's not a lot of, not a lot of leeway in terms of the trading because you don't have a lot of pieces to trade. So
some of the moves in hockey, I guess all pro sports, but hockey especially, are really cold-hearted. And when you let people like Pietrangelo go and Ryan O'Reilly, who are the heart and soul of the team, beloved by everybody, it has an effect on the fan base. It really does. And you can argue that they needed to go, their time had come, but it's still, unless you've got solid all-star players ready to come in and fill their role, it leaves a big hole.
I think Berube will probably win another cup before the Blues do. 'Cause he can get. I mean, if he wants to go, he can go somewhere and coach. I have no idea who needs to go. I know Edmonton.
In the NHL, they move them quick.
The next pretty good team that goes on a slump and fires a coach will probably try to hire Berube.
Well, Edmonton fired the coach. I don't know if they have an interim or if they hired their full time, but Berube in Edmonton would be a nice, fun time.
Edmonton is on a
heater
right now.
Yeah.
They've won 8 in a row. I watched a little of that last night with Bedard going up against McDavid. Bedard got a goal to start things out, but the Oilers came back. Get a chance to see Bedard there.
Yeah.
Weekend.
Yeah.
Quenneville has not coached since the Blackhawks thing. He is 65 years old. Berube, for the record, is 57 years old. And Quenneville was let go. When was he let go, Doug? Nurse?
But, Jesus, probably been 3 or 4 years now.
At the end of 22. Or in the 22 season. In 22 season.
He's probably had
resigned
enough.
14 games.
He's probably had enough at this point. He coached a long time and made millions. He probably doesn't need it anymore.
Mm.
But he was great. He was great.
Yeah.
Blues all-time winningest coach, right?
I think Hitchcock is.
Hitchcock's got the best winning percentage, but
okay.
I think maybe Quenneville has more wins.
I miss him.
I miss both those guys.
It's great.
That was another coach I hated to see. Armstrong was crying after he fired Hitchcock.
Would he go to Dallas and make a couple playoff runs? I forgot where he went next and had a little tiny bit of success.
Yeah.
That was Dallas. But.
Yeah. Well, they need somebody to put some pizzazz into the organization.
Mike Yo. This is when you go
out right now.
You want Mike Yo?
There's not a lot of sizzle on the bench or on the ice.
Guys, was at the game last night. The atmosphere was bad. No energy. Fans were fairly quiet from the start. Red Wing fans around us were louder, 3-1-4. Mm-hmm. It's always interesting, even though the Red Wings are now in the Eastern Conference. When the Blues play the Red Wings, there are a lot of Red Wings fans in that building.
Yeah.
I understand the Chicago one. The Red Wings one. That fascinated me even when the Blues were in the same division.
You suppose it's people from our area, just Red Wings fans? They don't fly down from Detroit for one game on a Tuesday night, do they?
I don't know. It's one of those things. Like I said, the Chicago thing I get, but I don't know the Red Wings thing.
Yeah,
used to be a hell of a rivalry.
It was. I was thinking that when I was watching. I'm like, I missed that. That was some great stuff.
Yeah.
And
Chuck Norris division.
And Chelios go there after Chicago.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you look at the 2002 Detroit Red Wings roster, and you just go, oh my God. I mean, it's Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer. The fact that the Blues even won a game in that series was a minor miracle. Guys, is Hare Davis Payne still available? Doug, would you like to see Hare Davis Payne?
I wouldn't mind it, yeah. Just to get the hair thing straightened out, we could send it to St. Louis Hair Restoration.
They haven't been
Is
the
that what an
same
issue?
since they didn't re-sign Perron. They haven't been the same.
There's truth to that. That was a move that when it was made, people were really irritated by. That's the thing about what's taken place in St. Louis sports here recently, is the fans have, in advance, these aren't necessarily Monday morning quarterbacking moves. I mean, some of them, I suppose, are, but the major issue with the Cardinals last year is the team went into the season like, what the hell was this offseason about? Arnau decides not to opt out. Okay, must be going aggressive. And you sign a catcher, and then that's it. And you have pitching questions, and then what happens? The pitching is a disaster. The previous season with the Blues, people are like, David Perron, why wouldn't you bring him back? He wants to come back. And then you see what winds up happening with the Blues. Now, I don't think David Perron necessarily makes a huge difference, but you talk about some of the players who have left or who have been lost to career-ending injuries. If you want to go Bowmeister, obviously Pietrangelo, and then the trade deadline moves, whether it be high profile like O'Reilly, but even lesser moves like Barbashev, as far as leadership goes in the room, and now it's time for younger players to start stepping up. I don't know if that's necessarily something that Jordan Kyrou is...
Why do you hate Hugh McGing?
I don't hate him. I think he's going to be a
What's he done to you?
superstar. I'm telling you, when I listened to Kerber's podcast after every game, and I'm like, they start talking about Hugh McGing, and then Lou Korak writes that column just lighting up the Blues, and in particular, Verana. And then he gets put on waivers and then pulled off waivers. That I'm like, they talk about Hugh McGing. I go, who in the hell is Hugh McGing?
He's a 25-year-old. He was an 138th overall pick. I don't get. Are we kidding about, like, if this is who we're clinging to?
Cling to McGing is what Doug has been saying.
Mm-hmm. Well, it gives you hope.
How much of these trades and moves they've made and people they've signed has to do with the cap? Because, I mean, Perron, I think, signed with, what did he sign, like a 2-year for 9.5? So it's less than $5 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
Does it have to do with the salary cap that they just had problems?
Yeah, probably did.
Oh, yeah, they've been up against it. And that goes back to the bad contracts that have been given for the defensemen.
Well, you blame Berube for the bad contract.
Kyrou and Thomas have the two biggest contracts in Blues history. And then they paid a lot of money to Bennington and Parayko and Krug. And that's where the money's gone.
Yeah, Krug is...
How much Berube making? Maybe they'll say, well, they got to pay him anyways.
That doesn't count against the cap, though.
If
But
the
I'm saying-
Virgin
but I'm
doesn't
saying if
answer
they're
the
running out
damn
of money.
phone, I'm going to have Herb steal his girl. Oh, Herb, his buddy. Jackson, you ignoring the Orson Woods Wackos calls.
Didn't mean to.
I guess Falk makes a lot of money, too. And Shen signed for another nice contract.
Yeah, I'm not saying Berube's against the cap. I'm
Well,
saying
you got a nice hit.
if you get an empty building and they're not making any money, get rid of Berube. We got to save some money here. Stillman's maybe feeling it.
The St. Louis Red Wing, that's why I think the ownership thing was of note in that Darren Dreger report. St. Louis Red Wing fans are on par with St. Louis Chiefs fans. Complete Hoosiers. That's from former fan page moderator Neil Allen Craig. Paul Cat. Jeremy Rutherford is going to join us early today. Usually it's at 9 o'clock on Wednesdays, but with the breaking news on Craig Berube's termination, he is going to join us in less than 10 minutes here on TMA. So, Jackson, why don't you use the Twitter tweets? I don't know how often the TMA Twitter account is used, but let people know, because I'm sure people want to hear from Jeremy Rutherford, whether they're listeners of this program or not. Doug Jackson, let's talk about your hair, because you're the mayor of the Wispy City?
Wispy McTufterson. That's what my friends are calling me now because of all these wisps I have growing on my tufts. They're growing everywhere now.
Wisp on your tufts?
Yeah. I have tufts on top of wisps. This hair is growing crazy. And it's all thanks to St. Louis Hair Restoration and the great work done by Dr. Polenga, the founder of the company, Greg Kryling, both of them patients of their own product. It tells you how good they are. They know that it works, and it does work. I had the old FUE procedure where they move around some hair grafts from the side and back of your head up to the hairline or the crown, wherever you need it. That's what they did for me.
Yeah.
It's been about 6 months now, and look at these wisps. Would you look at the tufts? They're everywhere. It's really worked for me, and it'll work for you. They have lots of different options. Might not need a small surgical procedure like the FUE. Sometimes just a laser cap will work, and that's what they've got Jackson doing.
Absolutely. Yep. They got me with a little laser cap. I take the finasteride every morning, just an easy little pill, and we're seeing some results. I had Good Morning Grant, who is a fill-in board op on 101 ESPN, kind of a jack-of-all-trades guy, and he told me, he goes, man, your hair is really looking a lot better. He's really seeing some stuff. He was asking me some questions.
Jackson and Grant are gonna bang.
It sounds like it.
I said, go get a consultation at St. Louis Hair Restoration. That's what I would suggest to anybody who looks in the mirror and says, I think my hair could be a little bit better, whether it's the hairline, thinning of the crown, any situation with your hair. St. Louis Hair Restoration.
Do you want to support the EDF Group as sponsor of our text inbox here on TMA? Well, it's real simple. Do you have a fire extinguisher rework? The answer is yes, you certainly do. So please email the EDF Group at fire@theedfgroup.com. so a technician can come out and explain to your team how the EDF Group can save your company money. Again, that email address is fire@theedfgroup.com. The EDF Group is hide and will prevent your facility from having hide fires. Experience the EDF Group difference. Learn more at the edfgroup.com. Jeremy Rutherford joining us in 7 minutes here in the Munganess St. Louis Acura, Munganess Burkhardt Alton Toyota, 7 o'clock hour. Looking forward to hearing what he has to say with regard to this move late last night with Doug Armstrong terminating Blues head coach Craig Berube. You will see the beginning of the Drew Bannister interim era tomorrow night against Brady Tkachuk and the Ottawa Senators, Doug.
Yeah, I don't think any of us know a darn thing about Drew Bannister, do we? I know they've had pretty good luck down in Springfield. Went to the playoffs a couple times, got to the finals once. Played in the league a little bit, 5 or 6 years. But we shall see. Again, I don't know what you do if you don't have the talent. And right now, unless Berube has just mishandled the talent completely, I don't see how they could change much. Maybe he'll be able to get more out of Thomas and Kyrou and all the newcomers up front. Maybe I guess we're going to see.
Does Armstrong have to get permission from ownership first in order to fire the coach? That's from Lady Sonia's Teacup.
That's a good question.
I would imagine so.
Yeah, I imagine he talks to them.
I would imagine so. Let's see. I can't imagine how bad the lockers room atmosphere has to be right now. Petro, Maroon, Perron, little fire under people's asses. They let them all go, leaving Captain Ryan O'Reilly without a right-hand man, and then gave him the boot too. Now it's a bunch of kids with no real experience, some overpaid D-men, and poor Schenner to be the next person to fall on the sword. Army needs to go. That's from Michael Frank's Love.
Can you imagine us saying things like this just a few years ago?
I mean, even a week ago, as crazy as it is. I mean, don't get me wrong, but as far as criticism, and I'm not saying that the 101 ESPN text inbox is gospel by any means, but what I am saying is it gives you a tone of fans, and in particular Blues fans, more so than any other station in the market. And if anybody was getting criticism, it was limited, but it was Doug Armstrong. I thought, if anything, I loved his message at the beginning of the year. Like, good for them for saying, hey, this is, you know, whatever you would want to call it, rebuild, retool, that, you know, we know we're not there yet. Good for them. And I realize it's not a full-on teardown because you do have expensive defensemen, but what are you going to do? You're stuck with them. So let's see what you can do and start building on it. So then for him to be fired, again, a guy doesn't just all of a sudden lose it. And by that, I would say both with Berube, but also with Armstrong. So I'm anxious to hear what's said at 10:30, although at the same time, the real reasoning for this, I don't know if you're necessarily going to hear in a press conference, but that is coming up at 10:30. And like I said, I would imagine we'll be carrying that live on Balloon Party for those of you who would like to hear it.
Sometimes you make moves that make perfect sense at the time, and you've got a whole list of reasons why this player needs to be moved and why this player needs to be brought in. Makes perfect sense at the time, but just doesn't pan out at all. And in this case, that's happened up and down the Blues roster.
This is the first time Tarasenko's been back to St. Louis?
I don't know. I think so.
He's having a decent year for the Senators, too.
What's he done?
Not a lot of goals, but...
No, I think Parayko is, to me, one of the more disappointing players as of late. Just because when you watched him as rookie and second year, you were like, this guy is huge, he's contributing, and then you pay him this massive contract. You know, it's almost like the softest defenseman in the league.
Well, one of the issues they have, if this is a rebuild, they're not particularly young. You look at the defense, Falk, Krug, Letty, Pareko, Scandella.
Yeah, that's
Those
the
aren't
thing.
young guys.
That tilts people. We got Jeremy Rutherford on right now. He is presented every Wednesday by Mark Hanna of Evergreen Wealth Strategies. Mark usually coming in at 9 o'clock, but since we moved JR up with this news, he is not in, but he is super excited to hear from JR, as I imagine many people are this morning. Mark Hanna is online at evergreenstl.com, 314-889-0503. JR, how surprised by the news were you last night?
Pretty surprised that it happened last night. I've been thinking in the past couple of days, I felt like the losses at Columbus and at Chicago, Tim, were kind of the beginning of something. Was it the beginning of the end for Craig Berube? Was it the beginning of the end for some players? What was going to happen here? I've just seen situations where that's kind of the start of it, and then it doesn't take long before Doug Armstrong in the past has made changes. But last night, no, surprised, kind of shocked, actually, that it would take 4 losses and Doug Armstrong would be making that decision. I know last night we were in the elevator going down after the game, and we were in the elevator with Doug Armstrong, and I can't tell you how many times I've been in that elevator going down with him where you're thinking to yourself, is this the night, whether it be with Davis Payne or Ken Hitchcock, and you thought, what's the future of Craig Berube? I never thought last night would be the night.
Right. Yep. That's that. I mean, I asked you about it when we were on 101 on Monday. Just kind of almost as like, hey, could something be coming? But never thinking that it could be something that would be within 48 hours. Your column, and I whether I agreed with you or I didn't, I happen to agree with you, but I appreciate the fact that you're, taking the stand and writing what you're writing, considering you're, taking more or less the side of the guy who's out the door, and you're going to have to be dealing with the guy who is still in that position, and that is Doug Armstrong, is that this is not a coaching issue. I mean, that is what you wrote this morning on The Athletic. It is more of a roster issue. And you start with the exact thing, and I hadn't read your column yet, when we started with the soundbite that you cited in your column, which came from Doug Armstrong in his press conference in October. I'm not concerned about where we fit in the standings, quite honestly, as do we build that foundation back to where it was in the past, and can we start building something to put us in the same spot where I view Colorado and Dallas now, with experienced players that have the pedigree and the perception that they should be winning championships. We have been there for the better part of a decade. We're not there today, and my goal was to build that foundation and get back there as quickly as possible. That set the message for what this season was. And yet 28 games into the season, have the goalposts move? Why the change?
Yeah, that's why I think it's such a surprise. And, Doug didn't say much on the situation with his outlook on the season and what he thought about Craig Berube and what we all thought about what Craig Berube's role would be in this retool. But he did make that comment. And so last night, that's the comment when I started to write the story that came to mind. Hey, what has Doug said about this? Because, have the goalposts moved? What changed in these 28 games? Now, we have to be first and foremost and say that are there areas of the team that didn't look great? For sure. You talk about the highs and the lows, the wins over great teams, the losses to bad teams, the power play, 7 for 83. Heck, your penalty kills outscoring your power play. There are a lot of flaws with what's happening on the ice, but what did you expect? Doug Armstrong said that this is a team that we'd be happy to finish third in the division. And so that was kind of where I think I set the temperature gauge on what Doug Armstrong thought about this season. And then what has changed? So the one comment that he made is that I don't care about the standings. I just want to make sure that they're building the foundation to get back to that championship level that we're at. And I can only come to the conclusion before we talked to Doug Armstrong at 10:30 this morning at 17 is that he did not believe that Craig Berube was going to be the coach to help build this foundation back up to championship level.
Real quickly, JR, Darren Drager's report, which you cited in your column as well, and I was texting with people about that, talking about how things are off the rails in St. Louis, and that if something doesn't change, it could mean the end for Craig Berube. That came out yesterday. Reputable reporter What do you think he was making reference to? I mean, certainly the team hadn't played well in 3 games, but a week ago they were 3 games over 500 and leading Vegas 3-1, coming off of a win in Las Vegas. So what had transpired, in your opinion or your knowledge, to get to the point where a reputable reporter is citing problems in St. Louis that could lead to the end for Craig Berube?
Yeah, Tim. So Darren Dreger, a lot of people familiar with him. He does a phenomenal job, works for TSN. And those guys put in the phone calls to not only executives around the league, but people within the organization. And they have their respect to kind of tell them how they see things. And so Darren Dreger's report yesterday, I felt was pretty basic. Again, he doesn't just throw stuff at the wall and hope that it sticks, but Darren Dreger said that people in St. Louis are frustrated. That's something we obviously all knew. And he said if things weren't to change and there weren't adjustments made, then perhaps you could see a good coach, Craig Berube, headed out the door. When I've read those types of reports over the years, you definitely, you think about it, you digest it. Okay, what am I hearing? How does this match up with that? I felt that was kind of, like I said, the beginning of, okay, maybe in a week if we don't see adjustments, maybe in 2 weeks if we see more of the same stuff, this could be the end for Craig Berube. He's just going to have to take the fall because you can't, trade off all the players, and Doug's not going to step down. I didn't think it would be 12 hours later. So I believed the report. I believed what Darren Dreger was hearing. I had not heard anything in terms of this would be imminent, to be honest with you. But I think when you see something like that, you know that people are starting to talk and something could happen. Was that the game last night, Tim? If they win that game, does Doug Armstrong give them more time? We just don't know until we talk to Doug.
As you said, you can't trade all the players, but would you expect some movement among players now at this point?
Well, I suppose the only thing is if this is the avenue that Doug Armstrong chose, then perhaps it's because it was his only option at this point. If you have players with long-term contracts, you have players that teams don't want, you have players that really aren't a part of the future. So this goes back to the biggest question, Doug, that I think is there is it's a retool. I mean, this isn't a situation where you're, holding a coach to a standard for wins and losses. I understand that you can still be competitive and try to make the playoffs. But this isn't a team that I think is a team that can go a couple rounds in the playoffs. So you're trying to develop these younger guys. So I think that's probably what we're going to hear from Doug this morning, is that he wanted to bring in somebody else because he felt that this needed somebody else to shape it and build up some of these young players for the future, because eventually some of these older players won't be here, but they have to be here now because of their contract situations, which left Doug kind of no option other than to do what he did.
Jeremy Rutherford, our guest here on TMA, and he is presented to you every Wednesday on the program by Mark Hanna of Evergreen Wealth Strategies. Mark is online at evergreenstl.com, and we are all big fans of Mark. We moved up JR's interview from 9 o'clock to 7:50 today because of the breaking news. I thought it was poetic in a way, now in retrospect, JR, that Jordan Kyrou loses the puck with the Blues pulling the goalie on a power play. I mean, everything was there. People didn't like the way Berube was pulling goalies early. People have been all over Jordan Kyrou's play, and then the Blues power play, and that is the final nail in the coffin. As far as Kyrou and Berube and Kyrou's development, let's talk about that, because I feel like that might be something that may be percolating and playing a role in what has transpired. Any insight on that?
Yeah, and I'll be careful here. I'll set this response up by saying this. Do you have intimate knowledge of how Craig Berube and Jordan Kyrou, operate? No, but when you are around people and around the rink and around the team, you do hear things. And, what I heard was that it was a pretty tense relationship. But that's not anything that you don't hear with a lot of young players and a coach that's hard on them. With Jordan Kyrou, like to go out there and just think about the offense and score 40, 50 goals? Yeah, and he's been able to score a lot of goals the past couple of years. But I think that if you're a fan, don't you want the coach working on a guy and trying to improve his overall game, which I think Craig Berube's done, and try to turn him into a player that he can be. With that comes frustration from Kyrou's part when things aren't going well offensively. So I believe and I know that Craig Berube was really hard on him behind the scenes. But Jordan Kyrou moving forward, whoever the coach is, it's going to be Bannister on an interim basis here, and we'll see who the next coach is with this. You would hope that that guy is going to be equally as hard on Jordan Kyrou. So I think the relationship definitely was an issue, and here's the big picture. He's got 7 more years after this year. Yeah. So if any of us, if you have an asset, if you have a car that you're looking to protect, if you've got anything that is of value to you moving forward, you want it to be in what you believe is the best hands. And I don't think the Kyrou situation with Berube was, priority list number 1 or 2, but it had to be on there in terms of Doug thinking, what do I have to do to make this a better situation for our asset moving forward? And if he didn't think Craig Berube and that relationship with Kyrou was on the up and up, then perhaps he felt this is one of the many reasons that he had to make this change.
And it could be why they went with Bannister, who's used to working with younger players.
Yeah, and he's worked a lot of these guys.
As opposed to Steve Ott. Yeah. Do you think Armstrong's job is safe with the organization?
I do for now. I know that, if you ask me about the relationship between Tom Stillman and Doug Armstrong, I don't think that it could be any tighter. I haven't talked to Tom in the last couple months about Doug, but every time I've done an interview, you'll be interviewing for the story, you'll be asking Tom questions, and you might veer off on a longer conversation about Doug, even if it's off the record, with Tom telling you how much faith he has in Doug, how much belief he has in what he does, how he operates, how well he's respected around the league. And so I don't expect Tom to share any shortcomings that he has with Doug, but to be honest with you, I think that he's really connected with him and believes in what he's doing. That's why we've seen multiple 5-year contracts given to Doug Armstrong. And yeah, I'm sure on the ownership, their perspective, some of these contracts, you probably scratch your head at some of them, but at the time, ownership signed off on them. And if they didn't work out, I think ownership would probably look at them and say, hey, they don't all work out. But for the most part, by and large, I think that Tom Stillman will stand behind Doug Armstrong, and I don't see any situation in the near term anyway where that would change.
I thought it was notable in Drager's report, and again, like you said, it wasn't like this eye-opening bombshell, but ownership was mentioned, not just front office, ownership as well. And so as I attempt to try to piece this together, and certainly we'll hear from Doug Armstrong at 10:30, how transparent that will be is yet to be determined. But the timing of this, the Blues are in the midst of their most condensed stretch of home games, and also some difficult opposition over the next 15 games, or 11 of 15 games, and one of those now in the rearview mirror with the Detroit Red Wings. On the timing of it and the Tom Stillman element of it, attendance, the Bally's situation, any of that you think coming into play with this, JR?
Yeah, I think so, Tim, but I think also big picture, like I mentioned a second ago, Stillman and Doug Armstrong talk a lot, and they want to be on the same page. To be honest, I thought it was somewhat surprising that they were going to try to continue to be competitive during this rebuild, retool. That's hard to do. It's hard to bring in good players who can make you competitive in a league that has a lot of parity and be successful, and at the same time try to get draft picks, try to grow those draft picks and bring them into your team. So the Blues are going to try to do that in the next couple of years. So for the Blues to come to a conclusion, Doug Armstrong, and you had to believe that it included Tom Stillman, to be competitive and to try to still make the playoffs while all this is going on, you can probably understand where that ownership frustration would come in when it's not getting done on the ice, and you have to point to the coaching from their aspect. Now, I don't think that this takes the players off the hook in the ownership's eyes or Doug Armstrong's eyes, but as we said earlier, what do you do about that? The contracts, you've made your bed, and that's the situation. So I think in Drager's report, for him to mention the ownership frustration too, I believe that to be one and the same with Doug, because they've been in lockstep with the plan that they had coming into this season.
As an effort to get the show back on track, what do you think of Hugh McGing, and also what are you wearing?
Oh man, Hugh McGing will be the face of this franchise in a couple of years.
There you go, Doug. That's what you thought.
Right.
Doug says, "Cling to McGing."
Yeah.
Was he in Cocoon?
Doug made this move because he knew that he had a card in Hugh McGing that was going to be great for years to come here. And then as far as what I'm wearing, I'll tell you what, it was 3 a.m. We were still in the press box, I think 2:30, Luke Horak and myself. And you guys know David Solomon?
Sure.
Yeah, we got to give a shout-out to David Solomon. He ran out to White Castle, grabbed some White Castle, and brought it back to the press box at 3 o'clock in the morning. Not good for the old Rutherford diet, but I went to bed at 3:30-ish, got up for you guys, and I'm wearing some lingerie.
Oh, nice. Man, just the fact that Solomon survived the drive-through lane at White Castle at 2:30 in the morning, that's the story, not Peruvi.
That's the lead right there.
Where's the closest White Castle to
Downtown by Busch Stadium.
Broadway.
Is there one down there?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, it's real
Very nice location.
I suppose you could go to the Vanderwetter one if you wanted to, but either way, you're winning at that point. JR, I know you're making an appearance on HD1, and you look down on HD2, and that pisses us all off, but I know you're doing Randy Carricker and Kerry Davis and Brooke Grimsley and Matt Rocchio's program here in a matter of moments, so we will let you go. Looking forward to the press conference today at 10:30, and really appreciate your stance in your column. Like I said, it's Straussian, and I appreciate that. So, as always, thank you so much, JR.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and thanks, Mark. Talk to you guys.
All right, there
thanks,
is the great
Rusty.
Jeremy Rutherford with us here, fitting us in on a very busy morning. My God, he was in the press box at 3:30 in the morning
I'm
at
surprised you
White
could
Castle.
get in and out of the building at that hour.
Yeah, I didn't.
Who was there to let Solomon back in with the White Castle burgers?
Well, everybody knows Solly.
Yeah, but is there anyone still there? I guess maybe there's a security
Somebody's gotta
guard.
be there. There's probably workers there that are cleaning.
Yeah, but they're not there to let you back in the door.
Well, they got to get in somehow and get out.
It just seems like that'd be hard.
I don't think it's that big of a deal, actually.
I don't know. I'd be worried about that.
I'll call JR back. Maybe we'll find out.
Yeah, those are the things I worry about. Just like Greg Warren, is he going to get on a flight and do you have to take Uber? Yeah, who pays for that? Yeah. We're logistic people at our very foundation.
That's who we are. It's who we've always been, as a matter of fact. Thank you to Mark Hanna for sponsoring Jeremy Rutherford with us every Wednesday, usually at 9 o'clock, moving it up today because of the breaking news here on the radio program. There will be a press conference at Centene with Doug Armstrong at 10:30. Jackson, I don't know if you've been in communication with 101 ESPN executive producer Mike Ryder, but I would say with Doug, I'll say with certainty, we'll be carrying that press conference live at 10:30 on 101 ESPN.
I would imagine that is absolutely the case, but when Ryder shows up, I will ask him.
I am looking forward to hearing what they have to say at 10:30. You are welcome to give your thoughts. Call in 636-9004-TMA, and you can text into the EDF group text inbox 314-881-TMA5. And if you are looking for a holiday gift, Doug, what are we at this point from what you call prominent winter holidays? At 11 days?
Today's the 13th, right?
14th? Nurse? Has anybody seen my nurse? 13th is correct.
13th.
12.
A week from this Monday.
Think about that.
Right.
Okay. Well, you're going, what do I get my mom? What do I get my dad? What do I get both of them? What can me and my siblings get and give them something that they love and that our kids will love and then they will love, as in our parents? Oh, how about their life story in video? Did you do a video one yesterday?
I did. Yeah.
The great Peter. What, did something happen?
No.
Oh, I thought you laughed.
No,
I didn't know if something
great.
happened. That gives me concern. My heart skips a beat.
They were great.
I was thinking about that today. Gifts for a couple of older guys who have absolutely everything. You think, what in the world do we get? Do we get them cookies? This is perfect for that. Because even the people that have everything, they don't have this. I bet most of them.
That is the case.
I talked to my uncle yesterday, who is 79, and I said the same thing to him. I told him about Sound Story, what you guys have done for the last few years. And I said, can you imagine being able to sit down with Grandma and Grandpa back then and things we didn't ask them, and that's how this year, Mom and Dad. He goes, oh, yeah. He says, and I know that my my mom and dad had like 17 siblings, but I never really knew much about them. And that'd have been great to talk to him.
That's 17 siblings? Holy moly. Well, like a combined, I guess?
I think my grandpa had 8 brothers and sisters, and my grandma had, I think, 9 brothers and sisters.
It is amazing. I would imagine you experience this when you're interviewing people, how large the families were.
My dad
back
came
in
a family of 10, too.
It's just unbelievable.
No birth control.
The way you can do it is go to mysoundstory.com. We have a video option. We have an audio option. We have a Zoom option. Different price points for each. You get 20% off at mysoundstory.com with the promo code TMA. And so the prices start at $399, so you're saving about $80 right there by entering the promo code, and you get a gift certificate. Oh, and now it's done. Now the holiday shopping's done, and then you can let your loved one go ahead and pick who does the interview, when they do the interview. You can have that happen after the holiday season, but you can take care of that gift. And if it's something you want to do with your siblings, everybody can chip in and do it. But you can also now have the video option, and it's not just like we hold up a camera on a phone. It's a 3-camera shoot, and it is edited with a wide shot, with the interviewer shot, and with your family shot as well. It looks really good. It is done really well, and that is a credit to Peter Repp, who we hired to be our general manager about 5 months ago. So that is the product. It is perfect for the holidays. It's mysoundstory.com. The promo code is TMA. I am available to do the interview. Doug's available to do the interview. Jackson's available to do the interview. Learn, Riz, Randy Carricker, John Hewlett, Moon, Courtney Landrum. I feel like I'm leaving somebody else. Anthony Stalter. Did I say Randy Carricker? Randy Carricker, yeah. All available. In addition to multiple on-air personalities throughout the St. Louis area, not just here on TMA. And you can do it via Zoom. So if your family member isn't in town or they can't get into the studio, it can be done over Zoom. mysoundstory.com, promo code TMA. We want you to be able to get your work in during the off season, and you can do that at Family Golf, but you can also get a Family Golf gift card for the holidays. That is a wonderful place to go during a time when it's cold. You can go in there and have their indoor simulators. They have their instructors working in there. Plus, they have a short game area in there called the Scoring Lab. They have the restaurant and bar. It's where we had the hit and giggle. They are online at familygolfonline.com. Love that place. And even when it's cold out, all of their driving range bays are heated. So you can still be out there hitting golf balls, and it is warm in there. It is Family Golf and Learning Center. Perfect spot to get gifts for the holidays or a gift card. familygolfonline.com. That's Family Golf and Learning Center. Guys, I'm genuinely disappointed to hear the Chief news. I can't remember a local coach firing that I was so shocked, surprised, or disappointed to hear about. That's from the Lake St. Louis Island boy. I would say that the Schilt thing is comparable. I don't know if there was a level of disappointment just because Schilt hadn't won a World Series. Berube will always be the guy who brought the first Stanley Cup to St. Louis. That will never change. As Jeremy Rutherford wrote, he goes, inevitably, that's going to happen. You're going to fire the guy who brought the Stanley Cup to you. But this one is right there as far as I remember the Schilt news. I'm going, oh my God, I can't believe that. Mm-hmm. But again, I think that one was more personal. This one, I think, is.
But I think the optics of the Schilt one was weird because he won 17 games in a row, right? And won Manager of the Year or NL Manager. I forgot what the context was. It looked so bad from the outside.
Well, they had the winning streak, and that's how they got into the playoffs in 21.
17-game winning streak or something insane.
I just think,
I forgot what it was.
I do think, though, in fairness, and listen, for the record, I was surprised by that. And if you're taking sides in that whole thing, again, from a 30,000-foot view, I still think it's surprising that it might be, I think, worthy of the conversation that it took him this long to get a managerial job. And it's a job with a team that is, in quite a spot in San Diego. It's not a team that's necessarily expecting to be. So maybe I just think that was more of a personal thing. You've seen these guys go, and Matheny got one job with the Royals. Schilt now, after a couple of years, gets the job with the Padres. Point being, these guys aren't being hired by the teams that are necessarily looking for world championships.
It just seems to me like the Blues have lost their personality. They've lost it with Berube in a big way. They lost it with O'Reilly, not only on the ice, but doing all those Car Shield commercials. Everybody knew O'Reilly. Everybody loved O'Reilly. Tarasenko, even Darren Pang, they just lost a lot of the...
Don't forget Maroon, too. I know that was later,
Yeah.
and I understand that.
They lost a lot of the fun and the personality that they had in the organization.
Yeah.
Not to saying, change is inevitable. It always happens, and people fall in love with players, and players come and go. Yes, go.
Especially in the NHL.
That's what's happened, and it makes a difference in an organization.
Yeah, especially in the NHL. I was just looking up longest tenured coaches in the NHL. You want to guess who's been with the team the longest?
Can I have initials, please?
JC.
Jim Collins.
Yeah, Jimmy Collins. That's right.
John Cooper with the Lightning.
Oh.
Yeah, that would
Since
make sense.
2013.
Mm-hmm.
Sullivan with Penguins 2015. Then you go down to Bednar with the Avalanche 2016. And then Brendamore and Berube, both coaching since 2018. They're like the fourth tenured coaches, and they've only been there for 5 years.
That's not very long.
Well, the NHL is similar to the NFL, where it's like a boy club, where they kind of just, everybody, eventually, if you're in the business for 30 years, you're going to be coaching for about 9 to 10 teams.
Yeah. That has to be tough, to pick up and move. I mean, these guys have got their homes. A lot of them got kids and school, and it can't be easy to do. And they get paid well, for sure.
Some baseball news of note. Ken Rosenthal, who, since he opined on the John Morosi debacle from Friday with the Shohei Ohtani plane, I didn't realize that was the guy from Shark Tank's plane that they were following. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, and he's a client of the...
Yeah. So they land in Toronto. He was with he has twin 5-year-olds, and Customs jumps on the plane to say, is he in there? And the guy from Shark Tank, I can't think of the guy's name. Jackson, could you look that up?
Richard or Robert?
It wasn't Cuban. It wasn't...
Mr. Wonderful?
Kevin,
was it Mr. Wonderful?
no.
Kevin O'Leary?
He's a Canadian, obviously. Well, he's going back to his home in Toronto.
It's Robert Herjavec.
Oh.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's the proper pronunciation, but that is the name I don't know if it is, because I don't... but point being, they could hop in the plane, and they're like, is he in here? And the guy's like, who? And they go, Ohtani. Like, no, that was the plane they were following from the airport, just south of L.A., not LAX, that his private plane had been flying. It's obviously not a little hour flight from south of L.A. to Toronto. So anyway, my point being, Rosenthal is careful with what he reports, especially after that, and especially after he screwed up on the Max Scherzer to the Padres in 2021. He is reporting the Dodgers are discussing a trade in which they would get Tyler Glasnow. So, got Ohtani, you had Glasnow, and now that doesn't mean that it's done, but there you go.
Well, they win the division every year anyway, don't they? Seems like it, now that the Giants have cooled down a little bit.
And their division was the one that had the National League pennant winner.
Mm-hmm.
I think, back to the plane thing, I think I read that correctly, that Ohtani's camp leaked that information so the Dodgers would jump on the opportunity and have to rate, because I think a report said the Dodgers was at 550, and so the camp leaked that he was flying to Toronto. The Dodgers didn't want Toronto to lock him in, and so the Dodgers had made that $700 million offer.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Conspiracy theory.
I saw that the Giants made that. That was the story yesterday. I saw it on ESPN. I don't know if they were the first ones to report it, that the Giants made, quote unquote, essentially the same offer. So they also made a $700 million offer to Ohtani.
Yeah, I heard the Ohtani camp was kind of leaked that information in order to get more money, which I think is genius. But I don't know if it's accurate or if it's just a conspiracy theory from one random dude. But I saw it several times, people talking about it. So I think that'd be fun.
Wouldn't you like to be the agent for a
Hell
deal
yeah,
like
you
that?
just made what?
And you still
70 million?
You don't really have to play or do anything. Just got a call every now and then. Everything good? What else can we get you? What a deal.
Why don't we represent Ohtani?
Well, because we couldn't do it very well.
Guys, Rosarena is rumored to be part of that trade. That's from Doug's work husband.
God, that'd be so
It's a
great.
nice little lineup they would have.
Yeah, man.
But who are they giving up? I guess they do have a plethora.
I wonder if
of
the Dodgers would rather have Liberatore.
Well, sure they would.
I mean, he's untouchable, though, right? Like, once he turns 30, he's going to be pretty decent.
It has to be so weird for Dodgers fans to have a team that's trying to compete for more than a wild card. That's from Tervis Parish.
God, anything less than a World Series title would be disappointing.
Yeah, at this point, yeah. And then what if the Yankees get Yamamoto?
But you sit there and you write it down on paper, and you all think, well, nobody's going to beat them.
Oh, yeah.
And then you never know. Stuff happens.
Listen, that lineup is sick. It isn't 1 through 9 sick, you know. And then, like you said, there are injuries, and you know that postseason is, as you've heard me bitch about ad nauseum.
Yeah.
A total
And yeah, the
crapshoot.
Marlins to make the playoffs.
Let's see.
We looked at the Mets and Padres last year at this time and said, boy, those are gonna be two powerhouse teams.
Giants had issues with PTO that held up the deal. It's from the 480.
Guys taking vacation right after Thanksgiving.
Is that what it was?
I think it was.
Well, they all know that.
We had Molina took vacation right in the middle of the season one year.
And then got kicked out of a playoff basketball game while, quote-unquote, rehabbing.
Fire Army! I will never forgive this roster for getting Chief fired. That's from Patrick at Immaculata.
And the problem is that mindset probably isn't going to go through the guys in the locker room's head that, oh, we got him fired. It's, oh, we got another coach. Okay.
Well, what will go through their mindset is how much time I got on my contract. I'm in good shape. Sure would like to win, but how much time is on my contract? That's what goes through players' minds. They want to win. They want to be on good teams, of course. But, you know, they go to work just like we go to work, and the main thing is taking care of themselves and their family and their future. Don't you think?
I apologize. I'm scrolling on the Rosenthal.
That's what I think.
Yeah,
most people are in it for themselves.
On the Glass Now trade.
That's what John Rahm is. He's in it for the take care of his family, but he also said he loves the team concept and he likes the innovations of LIV Golf, which, my ass, that's just, quit lying.
Don't get mad at him. But when everybody
golf.
goes to work, when you go to work for your organization, your first thought is, this is what I have to do to take care of myself and my family and my future. And secondarily, you think, I sure hope the team or the business does well, the company does well. You want that too. But first and foremost, you're in it for yourself.
Well, I get that. But John Rahm is a guy that said, you know, how much money do I got enough money for my kids' and my kids' grandkids? And then he changed it to, I just like the team aspect of it. I mean, that's what got me. And they're making changes, and LIV is innovated, and they're good for golf. And oh, come on, just, God, stop.
Okay, stop it.
Speaking of which, perhaps the most respected golfer, I actually think this might be like you would have the highest approval rating of golfers who have won a major championship in the last, I guess at this point, 30 plus years, 33 years.
Respected by who? Public or the other golfers? Or?
God, I think both. Or do you know where I'm going? Do you know what I'm setting up?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay. Then I just got better at teasing because he doesn't know about it.
I don't know.
I thought you were. No, I think. I
love that guy.
I'd be curious on this if I was like texting with Wellington and Jay Delsing and Adam Long, if Nagel, if they would agree with this, that perspective. No, hold on. No, we're not going to do it. We're going to go to the commercial break.
Oh, okay.
And then we're going to play it. We'll have that for you on the other side of the break. This is TMA presented by Brown and Crouppen from the Michelob Ultra Studios. We close out the Munganast St. Louis Acura and Munganast Burkhardt Alton Toyota 7 o'clock hour.
Live from the Michelob Ultra Studios, KPNT-FM HD2, Collinsville, St. Louis. This is TMA All Day.
Biggie's Restaurant and Bar has been a staple of the community for over 30 years and is serving your favorites like the steak sandwich, waffle fries, and so much more. It's not just the food that's rocking. With a full bar and patio, Biggie's is the perfect spot for lunch, dinner, and a little laughter. Biggie's original hours are back. Open 11 a.m. till midnight, Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And 11 a.m. till 1 a.m. on Friday and Saturday. Check out the full menu at biggiesrestaurant.com and stop in today.
Munganast, St. Louis Acura, and Alton Toyota, the presenting sponsor of Balloon Party on 101 ESPN, and the longtime 7 o'clock hour sponsor on TMA, and the official automotive provider of TMA and the Tim McKernan Show podcast. They have a secret number for our listeners to call or text with any questions or requests they may have. 314-252-0029. Call or text that number. Go shopping at stlouisacura.com or altontoyota.com.
I get asked all the time by people, if I'm in an accident, what should I do? And while yes, you should call the police, exchange insurance information, and take pictures of the scene, all those things are important. But the most important thing you need to do is hire a personal injury lawyer. This is Doug Biggs from Longo Biggs Injury Law. And if you've been hurt by someone else's negligence, don't take on the insurance company yourself. Insurance companies have teams of people and a playbook designed to keep you running in circles so they can pay you as little money as possible for your accident claim. If you don't have a lawyer, they know you can't bring your claim to court, and they will never give you full value. We recently took an offer from an insurance company without a lawyer on the case from $12,000 to $200,000. You can't get that kind of result without an attorney on your case. Even if you don't hire us, you need to hire a personal injury attorney. Check us out online at longobiggs.com.
Rosalitas know that a fun happy hour and scenic patio go together like fresh guac and chips. So take advantage of their covered patio this fall and winter at their De Pere location and enjoy happy hour specials Monday through Friday from 3 to 6. Their sparkling margarita is made with Chambord raspberry liqueur and topped with a bottle of Rosé Prosecco. They also have a variety of delicious margarita flavors, including mango, pomegranate, and blood orange, all made with top-shelf tequila and Cointreau. With phenomenal service, great margaritas, and a breathtaking atmosphere, there's always a reason to come to Rosalitas.
The Illinois Recovery Center is dedicated to providing precise and authentic care to those seeking help and treatment. Whether you've made the life-saving choice to seek help on your own or you want to be prepared for the other end of an addiction intervention with a loved one, the chance to learn about addiction recovery is available to you at the Illinois Recovery Center in Swansea. If you or someone you know wants more information about the Illinois Recovery Center, please call 888-472-9559 or email info@illinoisrecoverycenter.com. I'm Tim McKernan here with Action Jackson talking to you about Mark Hanna. TMA listeners have a lot to think through financially, whether it be saving up for their child's education or planning for their own retirement and everything in between.
Whether you're like me and just getting started with your financial planning or you're already retired, call Mark Hanna.
It all starts with a 15-minute phone call to discuss your needs and design the right strategy for you and your future.
Visit evergreenstl.com or give Mark a call at 314-889-0503 today. Mark Hanna offers securities through Equitable Advisors and insurance and annuity products through Equitable Network, LLC.
Do you want to support the EDF Group as a sponsor of TMA? Well, it's real simple. Do you have a fire extinguisher where you work? The answer is yes, you certainly do. So please email the EDF Group at fire@theedfgroup.com so a technician can come out and explain to your team how the EDF Group can save your company money. Again, that email address is fire@theedfgroup.com. The EDF Group is hot and will prevent your facility from having hot fires. Experience the EDF Group difference. Learn more at theedfgroup.com.
Hey, this is Doug Vaughn for Sound Story, the perfect gift for this holiday season. I've been hosting Sound Story interviews for the last couple of years, and I've enjoyed the chance to talk with so many people and hear their life stories. And with the holidays approaching, you can get your mom, dad, or grandparents a gift they will love with just a couple of clicks at mysoundstory.com. This holiday season, Sound Story is giving 20% off a Sound Story gift card when you enter promo code TMA. Sound Story is a professionally produced hour-long conversation in which you or one of your loved ones is interviewed by your choice of one of our professional interviewers, including myself, Tim McKernan, Jackson Burkett, or even KG in O-Town. Go to mysoundstory.com for more information and enter promo code TMA for 20% off your Sound Story gift certificate. Purchase your loved one's gift certificate today. Schedule your Sound Story later. Again, that's mysoundstory.com, promo code TMA for 20% off your Sound Story gift certificate. Sound Story. For you, for them, forever.
Bet like the pros with the world's largest sports book right at your fingertips. Circus Sports is now available in Illinois. Hi, I'm Derek Stevens. I've been a lifelong sports bettor, and I'm the owner of Circus Sports. We're excited that the Circus Sports app is now ready for action. Experience big app bets with high betting limits, tight money line splits, and more. Now you can download, fund, and bet like a pro from anywhere in Illinois. Download your new bookie today at circusports.com. If you or someone you know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER or text ILGAMB to 833-234.
Don't miss this year's hottest tour. Trans-Siberian Orchestra, live in concert. The ultimate rock holiday phenomenon. 2 shows, Sunday, December 17th, Enterprise Center.
Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Ignite your senses with an electrifying fusion of rock and classical. Trans-Siberian Orchestras, The Ghosts of Christmas Eve. A portion of the proceeds benefit Prevent Ed.
The Brown and Crouppen Morning After will be hosting the End of the Year Awards to celebrate TMA fans December 14th at Hot Shots in Webster. Best Texter, Best Caller, Best Emailer, or Listener of the Year, or maybe Best Cuck Story of the Year, or Most Perverted Fake Story of the Year, or whatever else we can come up with. Who should win? Who will win? Who gives a crap? Bring a new unwrapped toy for Annie's Hope on behalf of Jay Randolph Jr. and you'll get in for free. Find out more at tmastl.com.
Butter me up, Daddy.
It's the Brown and Crouppen Morning After.
KPNT-FM HD2.
Welcome back, TMA, presented by Brown and Crouppen. Tim McKernan, Doug Vaughn, Plowhawk, and Jackson Burkett. Ken Strode has left the show.
Where do you think he went?
No, he just resigned. He's over at KFNS.
You think he took that head coaching job of the Springfield club?
I think so. He took Drew Bannister's gig?
Yeah.
Imagine Iggy's like player development.
What do you think they would think if he walked into the locker room the first day? Here's your new coach, folks. Didn't play in the league, but got a lot of the answers.
But he's a leadership guy. He's a work ethic leadership guy.
Well, they had to shut down the Fontbonne bowling program after he coached there.
They
So you
played
hate to
on that. They played 2 tournaments. I still can't get over. And one of them, he didn't feed the kids.
Right, he was hoping he'd stayed asleep on the trip back so he didn't have to stop him.
Pocket the money that the university probably gave.
Right. The whole university is in trouble now. Fontbonne and Webster both, they're really struggling.
I saw
Not just with sports, but just in general.
I saw Webster struggle. I saw Lindenwood losing a ton of sports, too. I guess turning D1, you got to turn that money quick.
I guess, but some of these smaller universities have a major loss of students in the last few years since COVID and since the just kind of the national narrative that you don't always need to go to college. And
I think that narrative being pushed harder now than it has been. So,
and the expense just keeps going up. But apparently the major colleges aren't feeling it that much, but the smaller ones are really feeling the pinch.
This is bad when I'm tending other business during the show. I shouldn't do that, but this has to do with tomorrow night's festivities. I apologize.
You were probably going to go back to Fontbonne to finish that degree.
I need my 8 hours.
Yeah.
I give a lot of pub to the university.
By the way, I mean, let's see. I'm trying to think of the things they attacked me for on 101. My Catholicism, which is just phenomenal, but whatever.
They attack you for that?
Oh, yeah.
For not being or for being?
For being. I mean, again, it's not nearly as much as Jackson hears about his religion, but either way.
It's got to be a joke, right?
No. Jackson, is it a joke?
No. Why would that even come up?
I mean, I have never heard of it. Well, you're dealing with a different situation. But either way, digressing. Another thing is like that I didn't graduate from college. I'm like, are we real? Like, do you think I couldn't have? Like, do you think that was like I struggled to?
It was a tough curriculum, Tim.
Yeah, journalism school. That like college degree shaming. I'm like, really? I mean, you know. Anyway.
It's got to be a gag.
It is absolutely not. Period. Okay.
Do we even know the degree status of most of the people on the radio or care?
Yeah, I mean, especially in this industry. Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, again, it's a different situation. Iggy is back in studio. He did not resign to go.
What's your degree status?
Yeah, what is your degree status?
A couple years at Merrimack. I think a couple hours at Upsall. I just got out of there.
But I wanted you in here for this sound bite.
Yeah, I feel bad. I was a legitimate
what could it
lateness today. There was a poor old guy outside. I felt bad for him. He's talking to me and Courtney, and he just kept going on about radio and. Yeah, then my mom was born. AM started in KMOX. Remember that? And Courtney said, "I got to go. Thank you." And I, will you remember? And I said, "Yeah." And I talked to him. You know where rock and roll started with? I said, "Yeah, I was back." And I just felt so bad. He had nobody to talk to, so I was just talking to him.
What was he doing? Hanging out here?
He was just taking a walk, morning walk. I don't know, stocking cap. And
we used to have that fellow at KFNS that took a morning walk.
Oh, yeah, with the dog.
His dog. He'd wave to you.
Yeah, you get in the cup.
Here in the window and wave to us.
This poor guy just wanted to talk, so I said, "Got to go, buddy." So I just let him talk for a little bit.
Huh.
All right, well, you're back in studio now.
Back now.
This is Fred Couples, Doug, on his thoughts with regard to
give me a second.
John Rahm and LIV Golf on his Sirius XM radio show.
What was that, Plowsy? What was that?
I want to see the
Come on, Plowsy!
Okay. I thought we got a new computer yesterday.
We're back
Did
to
you get a
Woody
new one? Did you
Woodpecker.
get the new one? I thought it was today.
Maybe this week.
Oh, no.
Start, restart.
Skeleton.
I'm at a loss, man.
Try it one more time. I think maybe it'll work now. This time I think it'll
I'm
work.
trying like nothing is.
I guess Couples is one guy.
Look at this, dude. Not responding.
Couples is one guy that will never get tired of talking LIV Golf, I don't think.
Well, I suppose if you're that age where you're retired now, it's easy to take the high road. I would have never done that.
I think he won last year, actually, on the
Well, he's not saying he wouldn't have done it.
What's he saying?
He just wants to be honest.
Well, I'm going to try to let you know here in a
Could you hit the lever, please?
It's unbelievable. We have 500 computers in here, and this is the one that we're provided. Whatever.
Well, he's like me. He doesn't have a problem with LIV. He just has a problem with guys lying all the time, saying it's
You think
not
he
for
takes
money.
his cues from you? A lot of his golf opinions come from you?
I don't think so. But I agree when I don't know what he said here, but he always says about just quit lying. It's all about the money. It's not about.
But nobody
you want to
ever
build
says
the
that.
game.
In no sport do they ever say it's all about the money, do they?
Well, but
even Ohtani will say,
Brooks
Dodgers.
Koepka absolutely did, and I respect that. I thought the PGA Tour has botched this so badly, in particular Jay Monahan, from the outset, playing the Saudi Arabia thing was just so Hail Mary from the get-go. So I just think LIV's product is garbage, and that's what Couples' premise is. And I can read the quote. I'm hoping to be able to hear it because I think hearing it, I know you're doing everything you can, Plowhawk. What is it saying right now?
Could you please hit the lever?
I mean, I'm telling you, people think I'm making this up. Like, dude.
Well, there's no doubt you're not making it up. I don't think it makes you making it up.
I think Cam Smith also
use an alternate method.
Unfunctioning computer, man.
Yeah, you can't.
It rendered me completely useless. Like,
You can't blame the Saudis and start calling out 9/11 families and then go take their money. Okay, now we're going to take your money. You can be part of the PGA.
Right. I mean, and if anybody were really I saw Rahm. I don't even know why I bothered reading it. It was it's like when I read like YouTube comments or not the YouTube chat, but like comments under a YouTube video or social media comments in general with people using anonymity. When Rahm made his announcement and then like all the thing about being a sellout and all that, I'm like, the PGA Tour's doing business with these guys. So what's the hell? And if I'm a lot of the PGA Tour players going, okay, I decided I was going to stand by the tour. And then I left out on tens or hundreds of millions of dollars. F that. So with regard to it, I don't fault anybody for doing it. What's intriguing about it, and I don't think this is getting much coverage, the Wall Street Journal's been the one breaking the stories on this. I don't know how many people in the sports world, like sports fans, are reading the Wall Street Journal, but they were on top of this from the beginning. And that is the fact that LIV did this even though LIV and the PGA Tour, first off, Monahan and Yasser Al-Rumayyan, Doug, do you call him His Excellency when you talk about him?
Yeah.
Are supposed to be meeting this week or next week, and then there's also a deadline to get the deal done by December 31st. So the PGA Tour is trying to bring on private investors, and they made that announcement on Sunday, including a number of guys who own professional teams in the United States. And the theory, as reported by the Wall Street Journal on Monday, I believe it was, I read that article, was LIV saying, if you think you're going to take advantage of us or back out from the deal, here, we will show you that we still can take whoever we want.
And you know why they can?
And we will take whoever we want.
You know why they can? Because in part of that agreement was that LIV cannot poach PGA players.
And, of course, vice versa.
And they took that out.
But that was the United States government that took it out for antitrust reasons. Plowhawk, do you have the... All right, here it is.
About time.
I want to see the next superstar say, I'm going to that LIV. You know why I'm going? Because it is unreal. They play Riviera and they play TPC Phoenix in front of 300,000 people, and they do this and they do that. But I want them to go for free. Just leave.
Just walk over there.
Yes, and then go on CNN and every TV show and say why they're going because it's that good. 100 million doesn't get it. 200 million doesn't get it. 300 million doesn't get it. But for 400, it's a great product and it's a great show. My ass. Okay? Tell me the next guy. If it's Tony Finau, I'm going for free, boys. I love this tour. I don't like the PGA Tour anymore. No one's going to do that. So what does that tell me? It tells me it's all about money, which is fine.
Right.
Because
No, you got to,
Right.
Yeah.
But don't sit there and then go on and say they're changing the game. What are they changing?
Oh, their tax bracket, bro.
Actually, for 50 years, golf has been changed. Arnold Palmer changed it. Jack Nicklaus changed it. Tiger Woods changed it. The LIV Tour ain't changing a thing.
That's Fred Couples on his Sirius program, and I would recommend that Fred find a new co-host. I don't know who that was.
Yeah, it wasn't very good.
Wow. Either way. So what Couples premises, he's got no problem with the money thing, but the product, I mean, they get 139,000 viewers on CW. It's not about the product. It's about the PGA Tour being brought to its knees by the Saudi government. And Saudi Arabia, knowing that whenever the time comes that the United States in particular, but the Western world in general, is not reliant upon oil, that their economy is beholden to the oil and they will become irrelevant. So they are attempting to diversify and get into the U.S. capital markets, and this is how they're doing it, which has been called sports washing, but, it's business. And they have been in business with Western companies for a long time. It's just this one got highlighted because Jay Monahan and the PGA Tour had no other defense mechanism because they essentially had a monopoly, hence the antitrust issues.
I'm confused. So, like Fred Couples, in his same line of reasoning, that means the PGA Tour players, they should play for free because they love the PGA Tour and show how much they love the PGA Tour. It's always about money. It's been about money since the beginning of time. Mm-hmm. I'm confused why these guys, and he thinks if the LIV Tour is not changing anything, look at what the PGA Tour looks like now. Look at Jay Monahan. He's hiding in a cave somewhere. These dudes are angry, not because they are terrified. You can see all of the golf podcast guys, all these former old heads, who I love Fred Couples, they are absolutely terrified of what's about to happen to the PGA Tour. They're not mad at these players. They may be, but I think they're using their anger to hide just how terrified they are of, things changing. This is what happened in college football when the NIL came. You have all these old heads saying it'll ruin it, it'll ruin it, it'll ruin it. Viewership's never been higher. It's amazing. So I think these guys are.
What is Fred Couples afraid of? What is he? He's a multi-million. What does
I think
he
they
care?
I think they like how the game is and how the game was, and I think they're afraid of the PIF taking over and PGA Tour having to bow down and do whatever they say because they're slowly plucking players one after another.
I don't know. Anytime you have somebody who doesn't really need it and they're giving their opinion, that's the person I trust. The person who's a mark and needs to kiss the ass of a team or a league, I'd pay real close, or a political party or a political figure. That's in one ear out the other for me. Couples doesn't need to say a damn thing, and Couples isn't holding Rahm to task for taking the money. What his premise was just, hey, I'm shooting from the hip. The product's crap. Everybody kind of knows the product's crap. And until they get a television deal outside of the CW, it's going to continue to be crap. The reason why it's winning is because of the money, and that's what his premise is. And by winning, I mean getting players away. It's still not necessarily something that people are really excited about. I mean, can you even name a couple of teams that are in LIV Golf?
The product's still very new.
Cleeks.
Give them a few years. They may
Range
turn it
goes
into something that's a little bit more
4
palatable
aces.
to the American public.
Now, Pause, you're right to an extent that they have changed the game as far as money and the tournaments they have by upping the purses and giving the elevated events or whatever they call it now. But I think what Couples is saying is they're all saying changing the game, like the format and the 54 holes.
Yeah,
and
but
playing less
that's a lot.
and-
They're just doing it, but that. They're not going to say I'm in it for the money.
But Koepka did, to his credit.
And
He said he
Varner
was
did as
injured.
well.
Who did?
Harold Varner, I think, did as well.
Oh, okay.
And Cam Smith, I think, to a certain extent, said I couldn't pass that up.
But you got it. Those are mouthpiece things that everybody's going to say. It's not changing the game of golf. I knew that. I'm a big LIV Golf guy. I'm not saying the players did it for the money. I don't.
So when you say you're a LIV Golf, are you a fan of
I'm a fan of changing the
old
PGA model to where I think players should own their name, image, likeness. I think it's a little too cutthroat, and they cater to the top 5, top 10, and really, the guys kind of in the mid tier kind of get left behind in some of the major tournaments with paydays. Now they changed that to where, guys have an opportunity to get cards easier, to get paid quicker. And that's all because of LIV Golf. So I'm not saying I love watching LIV Golf, but I like the concept of changing the PGA Tour, and they would have never changed anything that they've changed without Mickelson and Norman. I'm not saying the product's fantastic, but it's year 2, and look at the golfers they have, and look at how the PGA Tour is scrambling. They don't really have anybody.
Well, the PGA Tour is
shots
scrambling, though, not because of LIV's product. The PGA Tour is scrambling because they, like Wells Fargo just pulled out of the Wells Fargo tournament. They're losing sponsorship dollars. They ask companies to spend more on the same product. It's like, let's say the title sponsorship of TMA is X. Oh, crap, we got to do something. Oh, now all of a sudden we say to Brown and Crouppen, no, it's 10X. And they go, well, what do we get in addition that justifies the 10X? It's the same thing. They'd go, we're going to pass. Thank you, though, for the offer. I mean, that's what the PGA Tour's got right now. It is a business thing. I don't know if this is accurate, Plowhawk. This texter said, I think Plowsy is trying to say that if the game changes significantly, the relevance of these old heads decreases exponentially, therefore decreasing their revenue.
It's hard to. Well, I don't know, but I don't know about revenue, and I don't know if. I just think they like the tradition and how things
when you
were.
say that, who are you talking about?
I'm going to talk about couples and anybody who bash like
Fred
Chambly.
Couples
I guess
is 64
is a mouthpiece,
and is worth 9 figures. Like, I don't think he really cares about.
I didn't say he was going to lose money or had any thought of losing money. I just think
I read the text and the person said therefore decreasing their revenue. So what are you?
I think that they like the prestige, and if that changes, and maybe they aren't talked about enough, they're not celebrated enough at tournaments, and they kind of just are like a dusty little trophy on a shelf that's not touched anymore. I think that is some of it. I don't know if it's all of it. Maybe just pissed. It could be that as well.
Now, I was a little surprised that Finau on Instagram yesterday said, I'm not going anywhere.
Which is awesome.
You would think, I mean, he hasn't won a lot, but he probably could have got $250 million to go. Just say, okay, I got 7 kids, and I'm going to take the 250, and Rahm did it, and all these guys. And if they come up with some kind of agreement with the PGA Tour, we're going to get to go play on the PGA Tour if we want. If not, I got $250 million in the bank, and I'm playing for $4 million every time we play. I'm kind of surprised he said no.
Yeah. On the subject of Saudi influence, what was His Excellency's last name again?
Yasser Al-Rumayyan.
How big a tool do you have to be to insist everyone call you His Excellency?
I was surprised you said it, Doug, honestly.
But what if His Excellency, or someone with the Saudi government, comes to the DeWitts and says, I'll give you $20 billion for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Right.
And they say, okay. And now we've got the Saudis bringing in people like Shohei Ohtani to St. Louis with the money that they give. Would you be in favor of that? Would you have a problem with that?
That's what we talked about. That's what I remember talking about the morning after that. I mean, for real. We talked about the surprise of the Berube announcement. For those of you who want to hear about that, we talked about it for the first hour and 20 minutes of the show. And we'll circle back on it coming up in the 9 o'clock hour, and I'll have the Berube Armstrong press conference coming up at 10:30 on 101. But switching gears here with this Fred Couples sound, that was the thing that really bothered me about. Well, there were a lot of things that bothered me about that Monahan Yasser Al-Rumayyan thing, and it wasn't about LIV or the PGA Tour. It was about, this is showing what I think, and I think there are a variety of different examples of it, the potential for, I don't know if the right word is decline, so much as the United States now not necessarily being in the position it had been in, say, since World War II through whatever date you would want to pick, that this is a spot where another global power, albeit Saudi Arabia isn't up there with a power, but it is financially, can come in and have this kind of influence. And that is, that's reality. And you saw it here, and they were able to do it because golf is an individual sport. But yeah, this is something that happened in the EPL in England. with with Saudi money coming in initially. It was met with resistance, and now it's commonplace.
And American money, too, Stan Kroenke. I'm sure they didn't like that much either.
I mean, Ronaldo is making $500 million on a 3-year contract to play soccer, and that's paid for by the Saudis. I mean, it's unheard of.
But would you be okay if they bought the Cardinals?
Yeah, I don't care. They put a product on there and go buy a bunch of players. I mean, I have no problem anyway. I don't think His Excellency and anybody in that group has ever been targeted and come out in a report that said, yeah, they were part of 9/11. They funded the terrorists. I mean, it's never proven that. Yeah, there's some bad people in Saudi Arabia. Not all bad. So unless you can say, yes, pinpoint, yes, it is proven he funded 9/11, then I'd say, okay, no. But nothing that's been proven. I mean, Christine Brennan thinks it's true, but, they want to spend their money, let them.
Now, you called Christine darling or honey?
Dear.
Oh, dear, yeah. Which I don't think out of all the, the kiddos and the honeys, I think dear is appropriate.
Depends what age you are. I called yesterday. I was trying to find Connie's frozen pizza.
Connie's frozen
What a segue.
Well, somebody
seamless.
Courtney yesterday, we were talking frozen pizza. She says, you ever had Connie's? I go, no. She goes, oh, it's tremendous. So I was trying to find it, and this company, Whitfield, Missouri or something, someplace sells it. And some older lady answered the phone, and I said, well, thank you for help. She goes, you're welcome, honey. I don't find that offensive. That's just...
No, women can say that and you deal with it. But men say it, it's a little different.
I don't say honey. I say kiddo, or I called her dear. Thanks, dear. Oh, I'm offended by that. You're offended by everything.
Okay.
We're getting texts, and I don't know what they mean. Beer Cat said he's spewing crap to have a hot take. He's a try-hard. Move on. That's from Beer Cats. I don't know what he's making reference to, or who's making reference to. This one is big old fan. It's 100% been proven that they were 100%. Oh, I guess probably September 11th, I guess is what he told me. They were 100% tied to it, I guess. And then he said, read something. That's from
I have read something. I actually read, before I made any of these comments back when Christine Brennan was calling out, blaming them for 9/11 and getting the families behind, I did reading for like 2 hours. Trying, because I wasn't going to say anything until I found out.
I did reading.
No, I was Googling articles about Saudis and 9/11, and the only thing came out said extensive reports were done, and it was not 100% proven that they had anything to do with 9/11.
Like 19 of the 21 or 2 were from Saudi Arabia.
Yes.
But whether there was a direct connection to the government paying for that, or whether these were actors acting on their own behalf, I'm not sure.
Yeah, nobody's sure. Even the report said we could not conclude that anyone in the Saudi government funded the 9/11 hijackers. So I did some reading, big old fan.
But
Why
again,
don't you read some?
I want to revert back to what we've said in the past. 26 sponsors of the PGA, I don't know if they're all still sponsors, have direct ties to Saudi Arabia. So if we're blanketing the entire country of Saudi Arabia...
That was just a terrible strategy.
Yeah,
Jay Monahan's the face of it. He certainly was active in it. That was his move. Can't imagine he was the only one. But, God, it was just a terrible strategy. And I thought the most grotesque thing, I still say, from this whole thing was trotting out the families of September 11th.
Yeah.
And then those same families on June 6th of this year are watching Jay Monahan sit there with the Yasser Al-Rumayyan and talk about how they're now in a partnership. Oh, my God.
Well, how many sponsors of all American sports have ties to China? They're a far greater threat to us. Saudi Arabia is an ally of ours. China's no ally.
Well, I think right now we're discussing and litigating something that is past tense with regard to this conversation. That was a PR attempt by the PGA Tour, realizing that they were in a really precarious position, and that was their Hail Mary. I don't think too many people are like mad at John. I'm sure some may be. They also might be quote-unquote bought and paid for by the PGA Tour, or be podcasters who want to be in good graces with the PGA Tour, who are criticizing him for taking the Saudi money. I think that ship has kind of sailed ever since the PGA Tour itself said they were going to get into business with them. What the essence of what Couples was saying is, nobody's going there because the product is better. The product isn't. They're going for the money, which he says he's completely fine with. That's all that was. And I don't think too many people even who would say that they've been anti-PGA Tour would say, no, I really enjoy watching LIV versus the PGA Tour as far as the product goes. I still continue to say I think what Phil Mickelson was saying. If Phil Mickelson's going to wind up looking like the guy who was right from the very beginning. And whatever happened with him and Alan Shipnick in those quotes, I have no idea. Mickelson insists he was off the record. Shipnick insists he was on the record. To Shipnick's credit, he puts forth some emails to show that he did attempt to contact his attorney for clarification, Mickelson's. But either way, Mickelson was saying, I don't like the way the PGA Tour is doing business. This is the only way the change is going to come. And that's where the quote of, these are some dangerous MFers came from. But, you are obviously seeing the PGA Tour act completely different over the last 2 years with regard to its relationship with its players because of what LIV has done. But it's not because people are like, oh, this LIV product, man, I can't wait to see the cliques take on the Four Aces.
It'd be a good match.
It would be a great match.
Now, I've said all along that the main thing is they want world ranking points because they still want to play the majors. And I think a lot of these players won't go because the majors are huge to them. Well, it's not ironic that John Rahm, I think his deal was for 5 years for 600, 700 million, whatever. But John Rahm just won the Masters, so he can play the Masters till he's 80 if he wants.
Yes.
He's got a 10-year exemption in the U.S. Open, and he's got a 5-year exemption into the other two majors by winning the Masters. So he's good for 5 years. He can play all the majors. Mm-hmm. These other guys that wouldn't be able to do that, I think that's the reason some of them aren't going is because I don't want to miss out on playing the majors.
Would you accept a $300 million contract to represent Iran?
I think I'm a whore. I don't take money from anybody.
Yeah, I'm going to say you're asking.
What's the Ayatollah Khomeini going to sponsor me?
I don't think he's around anymore, is he?
No, but they do have another Ayatollah.
Yeah.
And they got money that we've given them.
So it's like America's paying you. You can say that.
It's an evil government, but would you take their money?
What are you giving it to me for?
Just to represent their cause, lobby on their behalf.
Pepper and Genie reboot?
Oh my God, that'd be hilarious. That's how they funnel their money. We make like $200 million for our podcast.
What is this check from Tehran for?
You've got to speak positive.
What do you mean? I want to represent what they're.
You can lobby their cause, talk them up, say what a wonderful place it is.
What's their cause?
How to stay cool in the
just
summer.
to improve their image in the United States.
Well, if they want to improve their image, I'm all for people improving their image.
Okay, so you would, take the money.
Yeah.
So we're the head of Iran's marketing department, pretty much, right? Okay.
Yes.
I'm not going to say.
Social media.
Yeah, I was all for the hostage thing. No, not that, but I'm all for. Yeah, you want to get better. It's nice for everybody to try and get better. Can't the Saudis get better at their atrocities against people and their stance on gay people and things like that? If you can get better, do it. If you're just, a lot of people just think they're doing it to make face, and they probably are, but they can get better.
Make face.
What does that mean?
Save
make
face. Save face, make face.
I think make face might be a better.
I'm all for getting better, so.
So the answer is yes, you would take the Iranian money.
Yeah, what do you want me to do? Go to a show? I couldn't interview porn stars in Iran, I don't believe.
Yeah.
You have to make various
Welcome to Iran Radio. Today we're going to talk to Mia Khalifa.
Nice. First guest coming out heavy. I
think she's from Lebanon, which is, I'm Lebanese, so.
You're American.
Well, I'm American. I'm from Lebanese descent, though.
How many years has your family been over here?
My mom was born here, but my mom's mom, came over from Lebanon.
Yeah.
Is that right, really? Second generation. How do you do?
Well, still makes you an American.
Yeah, I'm an American. Mm-hmm. But I have Lebanese blood in me. You
always have to wonder, how far back do you go when somebody says, what's your heritage? Well, I guess if we're going to go all the way back, Ethiopia? Isn't that the cradle of where humans first walked the earth?
Yeah.
Well, what year do you go back to determine what your heritage is?
How far back can Ancestry.com go? That's usually what most people use.
I don't know.
And I guess it's correct. My sister did it for us for Christmas one year. She went back and went through my mom's family and gave everybody a printout. And I think my great-great-great aunt was like a Lebanese princess or something. Yeah. She was Viva la Stro! That's what they said.
That's probably what they were screaming
at.
Well, the streets of Beirut.
It had been Woods. It had been Woods, my great-great-great-grandma. Mm-hmm. Viva la Woods!
That doesn't sound like a Lebanese name, Woods.
It is. Wood, Slay, Webby, all Lebanese.
Are they?
You watch him now on the screen.
I don't know what James Carlton's is, Doug, but I like it because I go to carltoninsurance.net.
Sounds English.
Well, he's a gentleman is what he is. He will be in Dallas for Missouri and Ohio State. How about, did you see the reports from the Ohio State athletic reporter yesterday saying that the Ohio State players, there's now obviously plenty are transferring, but a number of them are going to play. Did you see that, Jackson?
I did not.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're Nduke or Mbuka.
Yeah. They're
wide receiver.
Wide receiver
yeah.
and another player as well.
That is great. That would be awesome if
them.
Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean, my God, here's a guy who's probably going to go in the top 5, and he's going to play.
He said he was going to play?
He hasn't said it officially, but I had a quote from one of the players saying, we think everybody's going to play. So that would be
fun.
Granted, you still have the motivation issue, but hey, you know what? I think Ohio. I mean, again, I think you can make a case for, God, I don't know, 9 or 10 teams to potentially be the one that could win this year, which is certainly not usually the case. But I think Ohio State may be one of the best teams in the country. They just kind of fly under the radar because. Once they lost to Michigan. But either way, that's exciting. James Carlton will be there, carltoninsurance.net. He is my insurance agent. He is the Plowhawks insurance agent. The number is 314-961-4800. 314-961-4800 in Webster Groves. For Home, for Life, for Auto, James Carlton. If your insurance costs a leg and an arm, call James Carlton, State Farm. If you're looking for a home, go to JEFFLOTTMANN.com. That's Jeff Lotman of Compass Realty. Luxury real estate, but it's not about a price point. It's about the experience. And he is the real estate agent here on TMA, and we've gotten to know Jeff. And if you are looking to buy a home or sell a home, work with Jeff at JEFFLOTTMANN.com. Yeah, Jeff Lotman, Compass Realty, St. Louis. He has been doing it in St. Louis for more than 2 decades. He has more than $500 million in sales in St. Louis, and he has been featured in the Wall Street Journal. So if you're looking to sell a home, he's got buyers globally. If you're looking to buy a home, he's got sellers globally with Compass Real Estate. It's Compass St. Louis luxury experience, and his website is jefflotman.com, JEFFLOTTMANN.com. Send your emails in for our Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling email of the day. The prize today, bunch of Cardinal tickets. Weekend pack, 5 games. This 5-game pack features tickets to 5 weekend games, including matchups with the Red Sox, Dodgers, Giants, and more. Give the gift to Cardinal Baseball. Holiday tickets are on sale now and start at just $55. For complete pack details, visit cardinals.com/holiday. At 10:30, the Doug Armstrong press conference will be live. Jackson, is it confirmed on 101? All right, confirmed on 101 ESPN. So during Balloon Party, we will have that live for you. I am looking forward to hearing what he has to say. Jeremy Rutherford joined us at 7:50 this morning in the Munganess St. Louis Acura, Munganess Burkhardt Alton Toyota 7 o'clock hour. So if you want to hear that, you can podcast what JR had to say regarding Craig Berube's termination. We will take a commercial break and come back with our 9 o'clock hour here on TMA, presented to you by Brown & Crouppen from the Michelob Ultra Studios.
The choice of a lawyer is important and shouldn't be based on an ad.
If you're seriously hurt in an accident, you'll want all the money you deserve. That's called justice. But there wouldn't be lawyers if justice was easy. No, justice is not easy. It's fought for and it's won. At Brown & Crouppen, we fight for justice every day. If you want some, call 222-2222. Because at Brown & Crouppen, justice is our business.
Hey, this is Doug Vaughn for Sound Story, the perfect gift for this holiday season. I've been hosting Sound Story interviews for the last couple of years, and I've enjoyed the chance to talk with so many people and hear their life stories. And with the holidays approaching, you can get your mom, dad, or grandparents a gift they will love with just a couple of clicks at mysoundstory.com. This holiday season, Sound Story is giving 20% off a Sound Story gift card when you enter promo code TMA. Sound Story is a professionally produced hour-long conversation in which you or one of your loved ones is interviewed by your choice of one of our professional interviewers, including myself, Tim McKernan, Jackson Burkett, or even KG in O-Town. Go to mysoundstory.com for more information and enter promo code TMA for 20% off your Sound Story gift certificate. Purchase your loved one's gift certificate today. Schedule your Sound Story later. Again, that's mysoundstory.com, promo code TMA for 20% off your Sound Story gift certificate. Sound Story. For you, for them, forever.
Rosalitas know that a fun happy hour and scenic patio go together like fresh guac and chips. So take advantage of their covered patio this fall and winter at their De Pere location and enjoy happy hour specials Monday through Friday from 3 to 6. Their sparkling margarita is made with Chambord raspberry liqueur and topped with a bottle of rosé Prosecco. They also have a variety of delicious margarita flavors, including mango, pomegranate, and blood orange, all made with top-shelf tequila and Cointreau. With phenomenal service, great margaritas, and a breathtaking atmosphere, there's always a reason to come to Rosalitas.
The most anticipated rock holiday tradition returns. Trans-Siberian Orchestra, live in concert. 2 shows, Sunday, December 17th, Enterprise Center. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. A legendary blend of rock, classical, and holiday music for the entire family. Don't miss Trans-Siberian Orchestras, The Ghosts of Christmas Eve. A portion of the proceeds benefit Prevent Ed.
The T.R. Hughes Homes for the Holiday Sale is going on now for the rest of the year with unbelievable savings. Hi, I'm Tom Hughes with T.R. Hughes Homes. We have several brand new completed T.R. Hughes homes that are ready now for immediate move-in. Some of these homes are already discounted between $30,000 and $50,000 off regular price, and each home will be discounted another $5,000 every week in December until they're gone. Wait a week or 2 or 3 for a lower price and take the chance someone else just bought your dream home. Wooded half-acre home sites in Arbor Valley and Winsville. A beautiful country setting in Riverdale, just 9 minutes from the St. Peter's Deerbergs, and Charlestown Landing in St. Charles City near Newtown. Don't miss this unbelievable chance to save tens of thousands of dollars on completed, move-in ready T.R. Hughes homes. This sale is over on December 31st. All of us at T.R. Hughes Homes would like to say thank you to the several thousand families that have trusted us to build your dream home over the last 30 years. From our family to yours, we would like to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and a safe and prosperous New Year.
Do you want to support the EDF Group as a sponsor of TMA? Well, it's real simple. Do you have a fire extinguisher where you work? The answer is yes, you certainly do. So please email the EDF Group at fire@theedfgroup.com so a technician can come out and explain to your team how the EDF Group can save your company money. Again, that email address is fire@theedfgroup.com. The EDF Group is hot and will prevent your facility from having hot fires. Experience the EDF Group difference. Learn more at theedfgroup.com.
The Illinois Recovery Center is dedicated to providing precise and authentic care to those seeking help and treatment. Whether you've made the life-saving choice to seek help on your own or you want to be prepared for the other end of an addiction intervention with a loved one, the chance to learn about addiction recovery is available to you at the Illinois Recovery Center in Swansea. If you or someone you know wants more information about the Illinois Recovery Center, please call 888-472-9559 or email info@illinoisrecoverycenter.com. I'm Tim McKernan here with Action Jackson talking to you about Mark Hanna. TMA listeners have a lot to think through financially, whether it be saving up for their child's education or planning for their own retirement and everything in between.
Whether you're like me and just getting started with your financial planning or you're already retired, call Mark Hanna.
It all starts with a 15-minute phone call to discuss your needs and design the right strategy for you and your future.
Visit evergreenstl.com or give Mark a call at 314-889-0503 today. Mark Hanna offers securities through Equitable Advisors and insurance and annuity products through Equitable Network, LLC.
Hey, this is Tim McKernan, and I am here with a great TMA sponsor, and that is Longo Biggs Injury Law Firm. And you may hear a bunch of out-of-state law firms advertising here and there all over on billboards and so on and so forth. But the thing is, oftentimes their goal is to just settle and move on, and that's not what you guys do.
Yeah, this is CD Longo, and you hear us talking a lot about maximizing the value of cases, but what does that actually mean? Well, as Tim said, there's lots of personal injury lawyers in St. Louis, and everyone handles cases differently. We focus on getting the highest dollar amount for your injuries, not just getting a resolution quickly. We're constantly tracking all the settlements and verdicts in the area. This helps us advise our clients on whether a settlement offer is too low. And if the amount of compensation being offered is too low, we are happy to file lawsuits and proceed to trial to ensure our clients receive an amount that is fair. Visit our website or Google us at Longo Biggs Injury Law.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hey, if you like the morning after, check out Balloon Party on 101 ESPN. HD1, by the way. It's Sports Talk with Tim McKernan and Action Jackson from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. each weekday, right after the morning after. It's the worst named show in the history of radio, but the content's pretty good, so check it out on 101 ESPN or get the podcast on the TMA app. Live from the Michelob Ultra Studios, KPN-TFM HD2, Collinsville, St. Louis. This is TMA All Day.
Well, let's put our golf where our mouths are.
Now.
It's the Brown and Crouppen Morning After.
KPN-TFM HD2.
Welcome back, TMA, presented to you by Brown and Crouppen. My name is Tim McKernan. It's unbelievable, isn't it?
It really is hard to believe.
Thank you.
Hard to believe that's your name.
There's the Plowhawk, all on YouTube. Jackson's still off cam. Wants to be off cam, I think. On cam on 101 ESPN, though.
Well, when we get a finished product with all that hair going in, he's going to want to be on camera all the time.
Bill. Ken Strode, I guess, is talking to the old guy in the stocking cap again.
Yeah.
It says Tyler Durden.
It almost felt too hard.
Tyler Durden.
It's
really
him. He's just talking to himself out there.
Let's talk to Mark Hanna because he's a good, what do you say, Doug, a great communicator?
Well, I don't think he's Ronald Reagan at that level, but Jackson seems to think so I guess we'll go with it.
He sponsors Jeremy Rutherford, usually at 9 o'clock on Wednesdays, but with the breaking news, we had JR at 7:50 this morning. Mark, good morning. Hello again, everybody.
Wait, there was breaking news?
Well, you missed it.
Oh, well, I'll catch up. I'll PLTD.
All right.
Later.
Always PLTD.
Yeah. Okay.
And Tim, Doug, get ready. You're also the leader of the new school.
That's right, Doug.
What school?
The new school.
What school is that?
The new school.
It's new.
Okay, that's like the trendy group of people.
Yeah,
Is
I'm
that what the new school is?
very trendy.
Front man for PFG.
That's right. Yeah, it was my rap crew, Crestwood Mall, down by the laser tag.
That's tough hood.
Thank
tough
you.
hood there. Yeah. If you're the man there, you got a lot of street cred.
Thank you very much.
Used to hang out by the laser tag myself a little bit.
Yeah, see, you probably saw the PFG perform.
Now it's at Deerberg's.
Oh, is that right? Yeah, I guess it is.
Yes, sure is.
Is that open?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. Is it a pony there?
Do they have-
Big pony.
Yeah, do they have one of those areas you can hang out and listen to music?
Not yet. They're promising that at some point, but not yet.
Yeah, the one in De Pere does.
Yeah.
Nice date location. Jackson, put that one down.
Okay.
Noted.
All right. Well, Hansy, how's everything going with you? Good?
You know, so in all seriousness, I wish I could have made it in, but I had children to drive to school. The worst.
Yeah.
And the thought that I had on hockey, and then we can get back to nonsense, is I was saying last week it felt like the Blues were on the verge of finding their identity as a team. And when they were that close and then you saw such a precipitous drop-off over the next few games, I think that this firing was the inevitable consequence of the players themselves not being able to embrace that identity that Berube embodies. And I think what's going to end up happening here, this is going to end up being like a lot of the past Blues curses, where I think of some of the past coaches, Joel Quenneville, Jacques Demers, going back to even Scotty Bowman, these all-time great coaches that the Blues let go. And Doug, I think you said it. In the moment, it seems like it's the right move. But as with all things, ultimately, we don't know how this is going to end up. And so I'll be really curious to look back in a few years on this move, if it's the right one or not, because Craig Berube, I think, is one of the best coaches out there. Yeah. And it's a shame that he had to go, but he really did have to go.
Oh, you think he did have to go?
Well, the players, ultimately, you can't, something has to change if the identity isn't coming together in any organization, be it sports or business, HD2, something's got to change. And when you have the players responding time and again, well, we just have to do this, we just have to do that. There's a line somebody used, once that I heard that I like. They're yesing you to death. They're just saying it, and it's on them to go out and realize their full potential. You're talking about Kyrou. The reason why Berube is pushing him, it's not because he didn't like him. It's because he wanted the best in him. He wanted him to achieve his best potential, and he clearly wasn't doing that. So sooner or later, something's got to change, and I imagine Doug Armstrong is looking at this saying, I regret having to do this. I regret having to chop one of the best guys out there. There's no anger in this. The choice just needs to be made in order for the team to embrace an identity moving forward.
I was talking to our very own well-dressed Tony in the break room a moment ago. He said there's something wrong, though, when Ali Marmol still has a job and a vote of confidence and Craig Berube gets fired. It seems strange and odd.
Well, again, I'll go back to we're not done yet. Will Ali Marmol make it through this season? If we don't start to see some sort of change, I'll be curious to see what happens there, because ultimately the headlines right now are what we're excited about, but it's going to be the results come the end of the season that really determine what happens here. And in that way, this is where, Doug, it kind of echoes my business message. Be patient, see how this all comes together. Mm-hmm. We just don't know what the outcome is. You can't overreact, but this is a reaction that Tim, you said you were surprised by it, but reading the tea leaves of the way that the locker room led to poor performance on the ice, what other change can you make?
Yeah, I just I don't see it that way. Doug Armstrong addressed, and I loved what he said at the beginning of the season, that they were going to be a team that was hoping to get to third in the Central, recognizing that Dallas and Colorado are a different level. And then if you get into the playoffs, you never know what can happen, which certainly is the case in the NHL, and now I guess it's across the board. But then the expectations I thought were reasonable for what the roster was. The Cardinals situation for 2024 will be different because the way they are portraying the acquisitions of Sonny Gray, Lance Lynn, and Kyle Gibson, I mean, if anything, I'm kind of in awe. We were talking about Baghdad Bob, actually, during the commercial break, Doug, the representative for Saddam Hussein in 2003. I don't know if he was telling the truth. It certainly didn't seem like it.
He said, all is well here with bombs going off behind him.
But the Cardinals, unlike the Blues, are selling that, look what we've done. I'm going, I don't understand this. You have Miles Michaelis, Steven Matz, Kyle Gibson, and Lance Lynn with Sonny Gray. But okay, maybe, you guys do this for a living. I'm on HD2. But I just don't understand. I don't know. I mean, a week ago, the Blues were up 3-1 on the Golden Knights, about to go 4 games over 500 and be in a playoff spot. And we're getting close to the Stars. And then they lose to that game and the Blue Jackets and Blackhawks, and then away we go. And there's a report from Darren Dreger yesterday afternoon that they might part ways with Berube. And I'm just like, man, that really happened quick for a team that didn't have high expectations going in. I think there's something more to it. I'm not expecting that we'll get that answer at 10:30. Maybe we will. I would give that like a 10% chance. I think the fact that ownership is mentioned by Darren Dreger in that report, I think that's intriguing. I think the fact that they're in the midst of an 11 out of 15 run in home games is important if you're looking at attendance. And as we talked about earlier, potentially what they've got from a television standpoint, which I also think factors into the Cardinals' mindset. I don't know. It's on the surface. It just isn't something that makes a whole lot of sense to me. It was not something that they were going into the year with expectations. I get the Edmonton Oilers doing what they did, considering the expectations they've had, and now they've won 8 in a row. But this is a different set of circumstances in St. Louis. So I just am surprised. And on the surface, again, I don't know everything, of course. Disagree with the move.
I think there's something to unpack, and someone far smarter than me will be able to do it. But comparing the Cardinals and Blues, and Tim, you talk about how interesting it is that the Blues have such massive equity with the fan base, and the Cardinals have such little equity.
They certainly did. They certainly did. That was the case. I think things have changed here in the last 12 hours.
Well, and what I was thinking about relative to that equity is, it sure seems like the Cardinals move really slowly on things, make long game decisions. And the Blues, Doug Armstrong tends to react very quickly. And I say react very quickly because I think of the Pietrangelo Krug situation, for example, and then now this firing. It happens quickly. He wants to get ahead of it. Fans really like splashy moves. That's what they respond to. Will they like this one? We'll see. I agree with you. I don't like it, but I understand it. Fans don't like play the waiting game. And in my business, I talk a lot about wait. People want to react. Don't react. Act on a plan. And that's where, in my mind, the Cardinals playing this slow game actually makes sense. And the Blues reacting. Now, are they getting ahead of the market? Are they taking control of the situation? Does he embrace, we're going to take action because it's important to take action rather than get behind the eight ball? I think there's probably something to be said for all of that. But comparing the two, one's slow and one's fast, and I think that there's really something to be said for that.
Now, when you said a moment ago, rather cryptically, that you think change is important everywhere, including HD2.
Yeah.
What sort of change did you have in mind?
Yeah,
there,
what's
Guy?
going on there?
In this HD2 radio, in this particular show, I think that the quality of the Wednesday 9 a.m. segment right at the beginning, especially with the guy calling in, and I'm talking about myself here, he's not very good. He's not very entertaining, but he does his best. Let's
Great head of hair.
That.
Great voice. Hot.
Otherwise, it's oh, thank you.
Don't change that. You said don't change that, but everything else needs a switcheroo.
Well, no.
Bring in 5 new morons. Can you imagine if they brought 5 people in?
It could very well happen.
To HD2. HD2 job opening. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the great Mark Hanna. He's with Evergreen Wealth Strategies. You go meet with him, which is the right move, but then you're right by Grassi's. So, I mean, now I think that's the incentive. If you didn't want to get a financial advisor,
pick up a sandwich.
Get a sandwich, yeah. but want to meet with Mark too. Mm-hmm. That's what I would say.
We can pick up the red phone and dial in your order. I'm on a hotline over to that place.
I might go. I got to tell you, I'm like, every time I talk to you, Mark, I now think about Grassi's. That's what I associate. I might have to go by there today. Doug, what would you get?
Stuff.
Yeah, it's the best. Roast beef.
Do they have the sloppy Giuseppe there, or is that at Adriana's?
It's Adriana's.
Okay.
I just like to say
house. I just like to say
roast beef, ham, cheese, garlic bread.
Oh, Bill. Oh, Bill. Mark Hanna, Evergreen Wealth Strategies. 314-889-0503 or go online at evergreenstl.com. Thank you, Mark.
All right, guys. Great day.
All right. Thank you, Hansy.
It's Mark Hanna. He's with Evergreen Wealth Strategies is who he's with. Think about that.
He sure is.
What are you thinking?
Well, I'm thinking the market's been pretty good this year. It's up like
it has.
20% or so. Yeah. Nice little rebound from a couple down years there. So all is well. Maybe Hansy is in charge of that too. Maybe he's solely responsible for the stock market.
I could see that. We will be responsible for the TMA Year-End Awards, and it's taking place tomorrow night at Hot Shots in Webster Groves. The awards get underway at 7 o'clock. I'm looking forward to it.
Are you?
Yeah.
When are we voting?
Excuse me?
Are we voting?
We already voted.
No, I have the final voting survey ready to go, and I will send that to you boys after Balloon Party.
I thought we voted with you a couple days ago.
I actually, and I was apologizing for not voting. So what was I apologizing for?
Nominations.
That was voting for narrowing the pool to get a certain number of nominees. I want everyone included in that process. And now that we have our nominees, we're going to vote for the winners. And I will give you that survey at about 11:05.
I will yield to anybody who would like it. My fan page vote. Don't get a chance to spend as much time there as I'd like.
No.
Yeah, I'll refrain from voting for that.
But as far as the other ones, I'm looking forward to seeing who the pool of nominees are.
Yeah.
Because I was not, that's my fault. I just was ill that day. God, I can't believe it's been a week. That was brutal. Have any of you guys had that? I guess not, because if you were, you wouldn't be here.
No.
But holy, my son was talking about how kids are missing school left and right. It's, I don't know, whatever the hell this thing is, this, I guess it's a flu, but holy crap, it is. I haven't seen much like this over the last 10 years where it hits you as hard as it does.
Irritable bowel syndrome?
I don't think it's IBS.
Okay.
I don't know about that. Yeah. Watch this. You know who used to do that? Mike Shannon.
Yeah. Did your mom come over and make you some chicken soup and give you some ginger ale? Rub a little mentholatum on it?
God, it was one of those things. I just sat there and I was like, God, I don't want to throw up. God, I don't want to throw up. God, I don't want to throw up. Oh, Bill. Oh, Bill.
Sometimes that's the best thing you can do is get some of that out of you.
Yeah.
Like when you drink a lot, you should probably throw up before you go to bed.
Oh, and you got the spinners.
Yeah.
I haven't had the spinners in a long time.
If you can throw up and get rid of 3 or 4 of those beers you had right there at the end, that'd probably be helpful.
It's usually the shots that'll put you over the top. Jackson, you've had the spinners recently. You probably have.
I'm trying to think when the last time I got the spins was. It's been a minute. It's been a while. I can't think. Certainly in my new apartment I have, because I remember being on the Vomit Comet.
Oh,
nice. Vomit Comet.
I can't remember the last time I got drunk.
Let's all get drunk tomorrow night.
Oh, after the Mizzou-Memphis game. Yep.
You got hammered?
The Dome. Yeah, I had a lot of Michelob Ultra that day.
Just celebrating that night?
Just drinking throughout the game. Got a really bad headache, and then I went on the Vomit Comet.
No.
That sucks. Gosh.
But that was all right. Got a good 8 hours of sleep in. Felt refreshed.
You take 2 aspirin before you go to bed? That usually helps, too.
Pound as much water as humanly possible. And then, some sort of ibuprofen or aspirin helps.
Right.
And then wake up and then eat first thing in the morning.
I bet Mentality helps. I just go to lowtusa.com. That's what I would do. Mentality, St. Louis-based local healthcare facility. I have visited it. I know a lot of our listeners have checked it out, too. If you are not feeling up to snuff, go to lowtusa.com. Low energy, low motivation, weight gain, muscle loss. Those are all symptoms of low testosterone. Mentality is where you can get that tended to. A local healthcare facility specifically dedicated to helping men feel and perform at their very best. The normal range for testosterone is large. If you've been to a doctor and they told you that you were normal without understanding the range or testing your free testosterone, it wasn't fully looked at, come get checked with us. It's at Mentality, lowtusa.com. That is Mentality. And Glenn Betts Jewelers. We are in cuffing season. It's the holiday season. Guys start thinking about, man, what would be the perfect gift? Oh, I got an idea. I'll go to Glenn Betts Jewelers on Manchester. Doug, and you took quantum physics with him, so you know that Craig Betts...
I keep thinking it's either 2nd or 3rd grade.
That you guys were taking quantum physics?
We were advanced.
And Iggy, you know his wife, Missy, is that correct?
Oh, yeah, I know the whole family, but I know his wife, Missy.
There you go. I know his son David works there. It's 3rd and 4th generation of the Betts family. Glenn Betts Jewelers on Manchester Road in De Pere. Plenty of parking right behind the building, about a mile east of I-270 in Manchester. They are going to get to know your likes, your lifestyle, and the things and people you love and who you are buying jewelry for. So if you're thinking about getting engaged this holiday season or looking for jewelry for this holiday season, go to Glenn, 2 N's, Glenn Betts with a Z, jewelers.com. That's Glenn Betts Jewelers.com. SEC schedule announcement tonight. I'm looking forward to that. How big of a nerd am I? Well, there's another example.
This is next year's football schedule?
That's right.
Okay.
I'm trying to guess for the purpose of getting like an Airbnb on the Missouri-Alabama game. The home schedule isn't as great. I think, it's not as glamorous as you'd like, especially when you're in the SEC. I guess the best game is Oklahoma.
Well, that's a good one.
It's good, but it's just, for how great the SEC is, you would like to have more.
Don't we already know who they're playing?
Well, when. And the best part now, because the CBS thing is over, is the big games can be at night. And so they announced the Alabama-Georgia game is a 7:30 Eastern start, I guess, 6:30 Central. That's outstanding, because the big games used to have to be at 2:30 on CBS. And also, those effing 11 o'clock games will be scheduled well out. They can't flex them around. You're not going to find out, 12 days before a game what time games are. Everything is ABC and ESPN. I think this will be a real positive thing. This could be indirectly a real positive thing for the Missouri football program. I'm still of the opinion if Missouri plays LSU at night, they win that game. As dumb as I realize that sounds. But
they're going to need more hotel rooms in Columbia if they play a lot of night games.
They will have more night games. That is my expectation.
Because it's hard to drive home after a night game if you live in St. Louis or Kansas City.
So, that is the announcement. The dates, you're locked into a few of them. The one that Doug and I are traveling up to, because we just like to look at the foliage in the Northeast.
I don't care about the leaves.
Is the
Boston College game?
No, that's in Columbia.
UMass?
Yeah, UMass and Amherst.
Gosh, that rivalry goes way back to they've never
campus.
played before.
Beautiful campus.
It's a hell of a facility. If you've been to Kirkwood Stadium, you've essentially been to UMass's. You talk about Jimmy Sturk.
And if it's a gloomy day, have you the pictures when there's not bright sun? That place looks like a prison yard.
Is Columbia or
UMass?
How many pictures have you seen of it? How often does that come up?
I mean, just online. I have been to UMass. I'm saying if you look at some of the photos, the overhead photos, and then when it's like a gloomy day, it literally looks like a prison yard.
Dr. J must have liked it. That's where he went.
That's exactly right. We had to
2
get him
years
on.
ago? 5 years ago?
5.
It's 5 years ago. They're taking on Murray State to start August 31st. You got to wonder if Ja Morant will come in for the game.
I don't wonder that at all. He won't come.
Jackson, do you wonder?
No, but I'm coming to him.
Is that in Kentucky?
What do you mean you're coming to him? You're going to a game?
Going to a Grizzlies game in January.
I'll be darned.
Murray
Who you
State's
going
in
with?
Kentucky, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Murray State Racers.
Where? The Racers?
W.O. Brown went there. And Winona Ryder, I believe, went there too.
W.O. Brown.
Really?
I believe she went to
That is really surprising to me.
Winona Ryder.
I just feel like she was already an actress by the time that she would be in and out of school, but that's so random, I'm going to fold. He might have nothing. He might just be like, I'm going to take the pot down. That might be the plague he's making here. I don't know.
She's from Minnesota.
I believe she went to Murray State.
Well, let's stop what we're doing and look up famous alumni.
Well, Jackson's
Murray
looking
State.
that up. Some more breaking news. I mean, it may not be breaking news. It was breaking news to me because I just saw it this morning. But new season of Curb, February 4th.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. That was announced a few days ago. But yes, I'm excited about that in February. I think.
Yeah, February 4th, I think.
She did not go to Murray State.
Damn it.
Well, she should have. She probably couldn't get in.
I could have swore that W.O. Brown told me that he went to school with Winona Ryder. I know she's a big Kentucky fan.
Really?
Who's
Are you confusing people?
Winona Judd? Are you thinking of the
Judd.
That's Ashley Judd,
Judd
who's a fan of Kentucky.
Ashley Judd, I'm thinking. Why did you say Winona Ryder? Ashley Judd went to Murray State, I believe. Can you check that out?
I'm looking right now.
It was one of those spots, Doug, where the action before and after the flop and then on the turn made no sense, but because it made no sense, I folded. When in reality, it was an obvious
I
flop.
was thinking Winona Judd, and I said Winona Ryder. It's actually Ashley Judd.
She went to Kentucky.
I thought she went to Murray State first.
She's like a diehard Kentucky fan.
I think she went to Murray State, then went to Kentucky.
Anything! Please! Anything! Look anything up yourself! Anything! That's from the Afton Altar Boy.
Why don't you look it up and text in what it was?
I need some warm milk and some cookies.
Oh, Winona Ryder.
Cookies and some milk.
She was born in Winona, Minnesota, which is very convenient. And her name is Winona Horowitz. And she
was in Little Women.
She suffers from insomnia.
Oh, is that right?
what it
Ooh, that's
says.
brutal.
Yeah. Didn't say anything about Murray State. I don't think she even applied.
I said Ashley Judd, not Winona.
Well, first you said Winona Ryder.
Well, first I said Winona Ryder, then I said Winona Judd, then I said Ashley Judd.
Yeah, Ashley Judd.
Hey, either way, she didn't go there.
No.
Guys, can you take his batteries out for a second, please? Thanks. That's from Carlos Spicy Wiener. Doug, what's happening? Am I at Malcolm Bliss? That's from Mitch. I know there are women, like my best friends, who would have gotten out of there the minute their boyfriends gave them a gun to hide, but I didn't. I got to admit the truth. It turned beyond Cumstein.
That's a lot of stuff before Cumstein.
So, Doug, here's what we got. For August 31st, Ja Morant in town for the Murray State game. Then, you're like, okay, there's your appetizer. And here come the Buffalo Bulls on Saturday, September 7th.
Gosh.
And then we see Doug Flutie in Boston College on Saturday, September 14th.
Awful.
Now, on the 21st and the 28th and the 5th of October, those are all empty. So, who will be the conference opponents in there? Alabama's schedule already has been partially announced. And I think if I had to wager, Missouri's going to be heading to Tuscaloosa in early
or excuse me, the earlier portion of the season, late September. That would be my guess.
Well, I think you would want to get Alabama early, that's for sure. Because they have so many players come and go, They play well, they leave immediately for the pros. Just like this year, where they didn't really have it together early. Late in the season, they're a handful.
Yeah. And then I think Oklahoma there's talk of Oklahoma possibly being Missouri's new Arkansas, as in the rival.
Ooh.
But I mean, Oklahoma's still always going to have Texas, and they're still going to play in the Cotton Bowl. They signed that through 2036 last week.
One team can't decide it's now a rivalry.
Well, I mean, the SEC tried to do that with Missouri and Arkansas,
That's
I
my
guess.
thing,
But I mean,
yeah.
that Missouri's kind of been dominating it. Arkansas views Texas as their rival, even though Texas views Oklahoma as their rival.
Yeah.
Missouri views Kansas as their rival, depending on your age.
I think Arkansas is a better rival. You get down there around the border, around West Plains, and it's brother against brother down there. They don't know who to root for.
And I'd also be very afraid if I'm Missouri, just with the pedigree of Oklahoma, that's who you want to poke the bear. If that's you're wanting to be a new rivalry in the SEC, I think you make it a bad awakening. Drake's doing great, and that team's loaded, but Oklahoma is no Arkansas.
I'll go with this. I'm going to go on the record. Here's my play: Missouri and Tuscaloosa, Saturday, September 21st. There's my guess for you. Because it can't be the 28th because they host Georgia, and it can't be the 19th because they are at Tennessee. It can't be November 9th because they're at LSU. Doug, you wanted to see Alabama take on Mercer. You get your wish. That's taking place on November 16th.
Yeah, say them for last.
They are at Oklahoma on November 23rd, and they are hosting War Dam Eagle on November 30th. So the only ones that are up for what you call snatch grabs are Missouri, South Carolina, and Vanderbilt. So I'm going to make a play on September 21st. Book your Airbnb if you want to go to Bryant-Denny. Do it now and get ahead of the crowd in 12 hours.
Didn't Oklahoma's quarterback just transfer to go to the portal?
Yes, he did. He was going to Oregon.
Oregon.
Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah, so Oklahoma may not have a quarterback when they play Mizzou.
Oh, they'll steal someone else's quarterback. There's a lot of good quarterbacks out there in the portal, right?
Riley Leonard going in there a dame.
Yeah.
Replacing handsome Sam Hartman.
Yeah.
Handsome Sam, Doug.
I think this playoff would be totally different if Oklahoma State didn't come back and win that game and get to the Big 12 championship, because I think Oklahoma would have beat Texas if they would have played them. If Oklahoma State doesn't win, Oklahoma plays in the Big 12 championship game, and I think they would have beat Texas.
I see. Wow, that's very in the weeds college football talk, but I follow you, and I understand your premise.
Why do you think they'd have beaten them?
I just think they would have.
So Oklahoma lost to KU, and then they had the Central Florida debacle, right?
Yeah.
Am I right? Was that Oklahoma State that had the Central Florida
I
debacle?
thought Oklahoma State got ran by UCF. I thought that was what happened.
So Oklahoma lost to who did Oklahoma lose to? I know they lost to Rock Chalk.
They lost to Texas, didn't they?
No, they beat Texas. That's Texas's one loss.
Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State. Yeah.
Back-to-back weeks.
Yeah. You may be right. Oklahoma State, wide delta team that if you got up on them, they were done because they couldn't move the football through the air, which was why watching early on against Texas, that was juicy live betting. Have you guys seen the UGA fans trying to stop air traffic so a recruit can't visit Nebraska? That's from Tervis Parish.
Gosh.
I have not. We talked about yesterday, Pat McAfee, they're not fans of him. I don't know about air traffic.
If you absolutely had to get to Omaha and some joker in a Bulldogs outfit is out there waving the plane down, how mad would you be?
How mad would be you lose a recruit to Nebraska instead of going to Georgia?
You never know. Jackson, did you see where Mizzou basketball got another 4-star recruit yesterday?
Row your boat. Aaron Rowe.
But he's going to be a 5-star.
I thought he was 5-star.
He is a 5-star.
Because he's a sophomore this year. So, like...
Junior.
Okay. My apologies.
And Missouri just got a running back out of the portal, didn't they?
Yeah.
He was like the 8th best running back.
Producer Joe's alma mater.
Nice.
Producer Joe played a role in that.
They're trying to get Winona Ryder to go there and finish up her degree.
I mean, Missouri probably going to start 3 freshmen next year, it seems like. I know Rowe in 2025, but it still seems like that team's going to be young.
Does he have maybe another year of high school still?
Yeah, I think in 2025 class, right, Jackson?
Yes, sir. Okay. He keeps that ball in the string, Doug.
Yeah,
you like that, Doug?
No, I don't like that.
He looks real good.
I read he's a 4-star, saying a 5-star, even better.
Mm-hmm.
The 4-star thing, it depends on what site you're using. The composite is the best way to do it.
Yeah, because Montez Johnson, who is an Illinois 5-star, was a 4-star his entire high school career, went to the a summer league and jumped up 1 star.
Jackson,
So
how many
just
stars did you have coming out of Ladue?
Whole big 0.
0?
No.
You were a 0-star recruit?
No.
Is
But
there such a thing?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah, there are.
Yeah, well, considering I got 0 offers or any interest.
Well, that was politics.
No golf
Politics,
No
thank
golf scholarship interest.
No.
What's the lowest your index has ever been, Bri?
Probably my freshman year at Florida Gulf Coast in the spring, it got down to like a 7 something.
Boy, I don't know if you'll be I think you'll be a scratch golfer. I really do.
Oh,
But here's the thing. Let me tell you, it's not going to happen until his 40s. You want to know why? I'll tell you exactly what's going to happen with your life if you want to know, Jackson. Otherwise, take your headphones off.
All right.
He's going to be married by 2026. We'll have
That's
a
pretty
child.
soon.
I know. Well,
Pretty
I'm
soon. You
just
think
telling
this
you.
latest one is the right one?
A short engagement.
I think there's a buzz in the gallery.
Really?
Yeah. Have a child by 2028. So Jackson, at that point, you are 30.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to necessarily spend a lot of time on the golf course. I think you'll make a nice amount of money. I don't think it'll be as a talk show host because you're too smart for this. And then you'll have some free time and join somewhere and get working. And also, I've played with Jackson with money on the line, and he doesn't fold up like a cheap tent. So I think with all of those factors, this guy's a guy who I think has a high ceiling, Doug, if you want to buy stock in him.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
You give it another 15 years, country club membership's going to cost you $100,000 anywhere.
But what Tim just described, that's domestic bliss right there,
That's
baby.
chump change. You'll belong to Westboro, and you and Tim will be 40-year-olds and a 60-something-year-old teaming up for the club championship.
Absolutely.
Can't wait. It'll be fun. Yeah, that sounds like a lovely little life right there.
Okay. Well, it's all planned out.
Yeah.
And how about Iggy's life? Where will he be in 15 years?
Iggy, where you'll be down in, what do you think? You'll be in, like, West Palm?
I'll be in the grave.
Well, there we go. There's that.
I'll be in my 80s.
Fun thought.
Well,
At least you can relax there.
I got 15 good years.
Got a lot of TV down there.
I mean, I wouldn't think I'll make it to 80, but you never know. There are many people who make it to 80, but
not that many.
No, we get sound stories. I feel like if we include that, I feel like everyone makes it to 85. Only
Doug, what is the number that you say is the magic number?
80.
50 something? No.
The insurance actuary tables say 54 is the magic number for your health.
Is that right? And what is that about?
I guess if you have a genetic disease somewhere in your DNA, you'll probably get it by 54. It'll probably take its toll before then. And if you're kind of clean genetically, you got a chance, if you get past 54, of living well into your 70s and 80s.
What that?
That's just what the tables tell them.
Well, I have no money if I live that long, so.
Well, it's not to say everybody does, or everybody wants to, or lives well. That's just what the tables tell them. I saw the other day, it's like 40, there are like 110,000 Americans that are 50 and older.
What was it?
110 million Americans that are 50 or older.
Well, we are living longer. I don't know why. The food keeps getting worse and
keeps getting worse. Well, that's a choice. There's better food out there than there's ever been. You can pick the food to eat bad if you like.
But normal people eat food that have additives and hormones and everything else.
Well, that's true.
Steroids.
I'm one of them. Inject my meat.
Clip that off.
But healthcare's never been better, really.
Yeah, it's true.
Never been more expensive, but at least it's there, curing more than they ever did before.
You may get to a period, though, that's the youth nowadays will run out of doctors in 40 years. All these kids now, nobody wants to work.
Not rich coming from you.
I can't deal with that topic right now. I can't deal with that topic right now.
What a moment.
No, God, no, man. The exact opposite.
No, the smart ones are smarter than they've ever been. It's the old bell curve. It's just the average ones that maybe not as industrious as their parents or future generations, but the brightest and the best among us are still out there.
Can you imagine if all the kids in the world right now said, I just want to go to college and, maybe take up sports, something like that. And then, 40 years from now, there's no doctors left.
Think about that, Doug.
Well, there's kids who can't get into med school. The bigger problem is they won't let enough people in.
Some of the smartest people I know get deferred from medical school. like truly some of the smartest.
Sweet Kai.
Couldn't get in?
No, he's
Herb.
He's great.
Herb.
I've had a couple neighbors went through that. Had the 4.0 grade average, did everything, took the pre-med in school, couldn't get in.
Why?
They only take the best of the best.
Yeah, and they try very hard to be diverse. As a white male, it's difficult to get in.
Of course, I was being facetious. We'll always have doctors, but
there's that.
Mm-hmm.
If not, I mean, it's like, hey, I played Operation as a kid. I can get in there and get that funny bone out of there.
It's very close. It's very close to the real thing. I don't think I could pass the first anatomy class, the first chemistry class, or biology. It'd be hard just to get through one of those classes.
We dissected frogs, and I threw up.
All right.
Well, you can't be that
squeamish.
squeamish.
I got sick. I said,
So we did like the pig. Yeah, we did like the pig.
Boy pig.
It was like yeah.
Well, our biology teacher dissected the frog. We didn't have to do it. And the frog was alive. She took it by the legs and started banging its head over the side of the table.
Have you not ever hunted frogs? How you do it, dude?
No, I've never hunted frogs.
Yeah, you just shine a light on them so they just stop. You grab them by the legs, hit them once in the head over the log. And
I couldn't do that.
I thought you'd gig them in the head.
I mean, I think it's just easier to grab them by the legs and bop them. I mean, there's plenty.
And then what'd you do? Eat the legs?
Yeah. You come up front.
Frog legs are good. They're really
good.
They really do taste like chicken. Everybody says, "Oh, it tastes like chicken."
Well, I'd rather go get chicken.
They are phenomenal.
Hey, for timing purposes, we'll have the Doug Armstrong press conference at 10:30 on Balloon Party, and you can always watch the program on YouTube, 101 ESPN channel. Jackson and I over there on 101 ESPN. You can live stream it on the 101 ESPN app. We'll have the Design Air Heating and Cooling email the day before that, giving away the 5-pack of Cardinal tickets, cardinals.com/holidays for your Cardinal holiday tickets. And the great people at Longo Biggs having a Toys for Tots drive at their office. And that's going on for the next week. If you have toys you can donate for Toys for Tots, it's an annual toy drive put on by the Marine Corps to help give deserving children the magical experience of Christmas that they otherwise would not get. Toys can either be dropped off or shipped to their office at Longo Biggs, 3828 South Lindbergh Boulevard, Suite 116, St. Louis, Missouri, 63127. That's C.D. Longo and Doug Biggs of the Longo Biggs Injury Law Firm for nearly 10 years. Doug Biggs and C.D. Longo have been recognized as the top 40 under 40 personal injury lawyers by Super Lawyers, the National Academy of Personal Injury Attorneys, and the National Trial Lawyers Association. If you are injured in a car accident and need an attorney, you need the best you can find. If any of my family or friends are ever injured in an accident, I want them to call Doug Biggs and C.D. Longo at Longo Biggs Injury Law. Go online at longobiggs.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements. And the Illinois Recovery Center, they have a Facebook page now. If you or your loved ones need their help, check out their Facebook page, Illinois Recovery Center. The Illinois Recovery Center is dedicated to providing precise and authentic care to those seeking help and treatment. Whether you've made the life-saving choice to seek help on your own or you want to be prepared for the other end of an addiction intervention with a loved one, the chance to learn about addiction recovery is available to you at the Illinois Recovery Center in Swansea. If you or someone you know wants more information about the Illinois Recovery Center, please call 888-472-9559 or email info@illinoisrecoverycenter.com. Let's see, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Design Air Heating and Cooling email of the day. Big prize here, 5-pack of Cardinal tickets. Unbelievable. For the Cardinals holiday weekend promotion.
Prize.
It is a great prize.
It shows because we had like 8 emails yesterday.
That's that made it into the filtered file. Yeah, this is the weekend pack. 5 games. This 5-game pack features tickets to 5 weekend games, including matchups of the Red Sox, Dodgers, Giants, and more. Give the gift of Cardinal baseball. Holiday tickets are on sale now and start at just $55. For complete pack details, visit cardinals.com/holiday. I'm in the wrong file. I apologize. You know that erotic scene in Basic Instinct when Sharon Stone uncrosses her legs to reveal her perfectly manicured bush?
Yeah.
Well, I'll be recreating that scene in the handicap stall at Hot Shots in Webster Groves tomorrow night.
No.
And yes, I will be wearing that iconic white dress and sexy high heels. Injun Joe is a sucker for pouty-lipped gentlemen in stilettos, so he already called dibs on my mouth, but my brown hole's up for grabs.
Oh, gosh.
Doug, this is the filtered file.
What didn't make it, Jackson?
A lot.
One small difference is that Sharon's shrubs were neatly trimmed, but my dense thicket hasn't been shorn in years. It looks like an albino snake slithering through the jungle down there.
Oh.
Sharon wasn't doing her dirty business in the film either, but I'll be stacking mud on Thursday if you'd like to watch me put on a show. You can look, but please don't make eye contact with me until I'm done unleashing the demons. My goal is to lay a sturdy base for the tallest Limay totem pole any TMA Live event has ever seen.
Yeah.
We came close to setting a record at the Hit and Giggle, but the heaping pile toppled before we could find a tape measure to record an accurate height. My buddy Brad promised to keep an eye on the mud mounds, so if the totem starts to tip over, Brad is going to yell timber to warn the onlookers.
All right, that's enough! How much more?
2 sentences.
Okay, hurry up.
I repeat, no eye contact until you hear an audible kerplunk. Oh, by the way, while there is no cover charge, it is BYOWW. Bring your own wet wipes.
Oh.
If you stick around long enough, I'll even show you how I got the nickname Brown Knuckles. It's from the JV Golf Coach.
Oh, very vile. Not a candidate for my vote.
Good morning.
JV Golf Coach.
You know, I'm done complaining about the year-end award selections that Jackson completely screwed up. Like it couldn't have been much worse. I'm not going to belabor how much better the awards would be if Tim would have been involved and kept Dumb and Dumber in check with the nominations. I'm done mentioning that Sweet Sweet Kai is nominated for the second year in a row for Rookie of the Year. Yep, I'm letting it go. Little Beer Cats and I will be there Thursday and enjoy an evening visit with Tim, Doug, Plowsy, and Jackson. Oh, and did you hear that KG in O-Town, rewarded for his want-to and work ethic, is now employed by Tim's company, Sound Story, and is being offered as an interviewer? Great to see good things happen to good people. Hope to catch up with him and congratulate him on his new role. I wonder what Sound Story's PTO policy is. Are they letting employees off on the 26th so their employees can indulge in an Aldi's frozen shrimp plate and some Walmart ham on Christmas night? Plowsy, the new skeleton is so much better. Thank you for the effort you are putting into this. Between the work you put into this stuff and Jackson keeping the ship together in Tim's absence last week, it's nice that Tim has people around him that work hard and are willing to put in extra work.
It seems like a shot.
That's not great.
All right, boys, I have catch-up to marry so I can be off tomorrow night. Somewhere in the next 24 hours, I have to find time to get a toy for the event because apparently Hot Shots is charging a massive cover charge if you don't bring a toy. At least that's what the recorded spots by Marty imply. Toodles, that's from Milagro Tequila Listener of the Month, January 2023, Beer Cats.
Beer Cats. With an interesting little email.
And Young. Oh, hey, didn't see you there. All right, see ya. That's from number one Asian intern Brian Henson, a.k.a. ASMR Rapunzel 3-5. In honor of their upcoming holiday party, we're excited to offer 50% off our premium platinum tier subscription page on Only Whispers, my new explicit ASMR page. Want a little nudity with your tingles? Well, you're in luck, baby. Snip, snip, clip, clip, squish, squish. I'm naked. Swoosh, bitches.
Gosh, Brian Henson's naked.
Maybe she has a Patreon.
Brian Henson. Naked.
Somebody's cooking something gross in
I smell popcorn.
Yeah.
Is that popcorn?
Jackson, find out who that is for the Rills.
Yeah.
Didn't that happen? Remember in the newsroom and TV stations? Because it happened in Little Rock, not just KMOV.
Mm-hmm.
Producers would... He just yelled out the door.
Somebody just flushed.
I think
Dude,
it's
that's what we're cooking.
It smells like burnt popcorn.
Somebody
doesn't it?
taking a crock pot dish there.
And Young, despite what W. Earl Brown said, I did not go to Murray State. Thanks, that's from number one Asian intern Brian Henson, a.k.a. Winona Judd? Winona Ryder? No, this is noted Kentucky alum Ashley Judd, probably. Maybe it's actually Jodie Foster. Did she go to Murray State? No, whatever. What the hell are we even doing here?
Somebody went there.
The sports talk kept the Strode at bay for the first 2 hours, but holy Tim, Possum put in work in the third segment. That's Brian Henson, Doug.
Brian Henson. Possum put in work in the third segment.
Hey, guys, looking forward to Mizzou playing Buffalo next year. You know, Jeff George went to Buffalo. What's wrong, Iggy?
It's getting worse, that smell.
Well, you'll get through it. You don't need to wave your hand. It's not going to do a lot of good.
Jackson, what did you discover?
The culprit hightailed it out of there before I could tackle
Oh!
Wait, not Jeff George. I mean George Michael. And it wasn't Buffalo, it was Bowling Green. Actually, not George Michael. I meant Michael Jordan. Oh, he went to UNC. Did I say Michael Jordan? I meant Jordan Love. Oh, he went to Utah State. I'm just going off what W. Earl Brown told me. You guys know what I meant. Blueberry Pop Pop.
Blueberry Pop Pop.
Morning, guys. I listened to The Skeleton last night while cleaning baby bottles, pump parts, and nipples. And that damn skeleton had me howling. The segment was one of the Game of Thrones Insta classics where Iggy broke down, and I do mean broke down, a bunch of character names that were wrong and plot points that didn't matter, and then Plowsy dove deep into his military strategist bag to critique the placement and utility of dragons during battle time. Anyways, amongst the chaos, my new favorite little TMA thing took place. It's that thing where Iggy absolutely botches a character's name, and then Doug quietly whispers an old-timey ball player has a similar name to the mispronounced character name that Iggy's desperately trying to get the rest of his host to give an S about. Then after Doug mentions the old-timey ball player, Tim hops in and states an obscure deep cut of a fact about that player that nobody could possibly fact-check. And then the cat relates that stat to a show tune that Doug starts humming. Then Plowsy mentions he's never heard of that song, so he looks it up and then plays it after 2 minutes of ads and commercials from YouTube. Then the entire team spends the next 7 minutes guessing the net worth of that singer until everyone just sort of moves on from whatever Iggy was talking about.
It was a bit.
And just like that, the show fully pivots off Iggy's story as he sits quietly in the corner of whatever malfunctioning, defunct piss closet of a studio you're in at the time, burning his shoes out of frustration. Funny stuff. Funny stuff. Great job on the Skelly Plow Company, man. That comes from, I think it's Gunter.
Gunter.
Nothing worse than watching an organization paint themselves into a corner with bad personnel moves and ultimately scapegoat a good coach because upper management doesn't have the nerve to fire themselves. I guess the only thing left to do is cling to McGee. And ask the beat writer on 3 Hours of Sleep if the 138th overall pick in the 2021 NHL draft was in Cocoon. Only for the question to be completely ignored, like he was SGO Kai, ignoring the mention of Pitbull amongst his contemporary South Florida rappers. Today's hijacking is sponsored by Connie's Frozen Pizza. When you need to make face for some unsolicited sexist banter, choose Connie's. Okay, I need to wrap this email up so I can finish my Christmas shopping. I have my eye on this sweet-looking leather jacket that I want to buy for my work husband. The jacket is from the Planet Hollywood on the Landing that's been closed for 2 decades. Strangely, it's not available as an individual item, but part of a $150 3-jacket package deal that also includes an Adidas lightweight jacket and a Kansas Letterman jacket. Now, why anyone would want all 3 of these completely different-looking jackets, I haven't quite worked out, but I do believe in it. That's from Buck Swope, and that's what we have.
Buck Swope with a nice little email.
With a Design Air Heating and Cooling email today. Who gets the Cardinal tickets?
I was leaning towards Beer Cats because I thought he made some interesting points. Yeah. Gunter was good, but I think I'm going to go with Buck Swope right there at the end.
You know, I can only put one price in there, and there were 3 jackets. So,
how'd you get the Kansas Letterman jacket?
When I saw that, I thought it was spam.
I gave that.
Steal that from John Riggins?
I gave it to Rafe anyway for free.
How did you get it?
I don't remember. I really don't. It was in my closet, and I forgot I had it.
Could that have been Gail Sayers' jacket?
Wilt Chamberlain?
Could be.
Maybe
Billy Williams. Yeah, game used. I like the JV Golf, Coach, because you have to, stacking mud is always funny.
But it's vile.
But I have to go with Swope. I thought it was good.
Buck Swope has shipped the Design Air Heating and Cooling email today, and he's going to the Cardinal game 5 times over with the weekend pack. That's right. Buck Swope has won the Design Air Heating and Cooling email today. You can get those Cardinal tickets for the holidays at cardinals.com/holidays. Jackson and I are going to go down the hallway, and they will not be happy today. They will not be happy. But we will also have the Doug Armstrong press conference live at 10:30. Watch the program on YouTube. It's the 101 ESPN channel. It's called Balloon Party. It's presented to you by Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton, Toyota. Jackson and I are going to go deal with the situation. Plow, who has a sound story today? John Hewlett? John Hewlett will have a sound story today. Missed anything? Jeremy Rutherford was with us at 7:50 in our 7 o'clock hour, presented to you by Munganess St. Louis Acura. Time for us to shut it down. For the Plowhawk, for Action Jackson, for Kenneth Iggy Strode, for my brother Kevin, for Douglas Elvin Vaughn. I'm Tim McCurtain. This has been TMA, presented to you by Brown and Crouppen from the Michelob Ultra Studios.
Open up your TMA mobile app and enter keyword LAB.